Wherever you go, I'll be there. Susan Quinn glanced at Ethan Ford in the driver's seat, hesitating for a moment before saying, if the manager finds out, I might get fined. But whatever, I should finish what I started with a customer. Lou stood there, stunned. Seeing how stubborn she was, he just shook his head and walked away. Mister, Big Shot, the back seat, is actually really comfortable. Grace Miller cheered from the back, patting the leather and looking around. It's a luxury car, of course it's comfortable. But hey, Grace, you should try the passenger seat. It's even better, Ethan laughed. Okay. Grace scrambled from the back seat to the front in a flash. Sure enough, the view was wide, and there was plenty of legroom. Not bad at all. The space up here is huge. You could probably fit 2 people in this seat. Grace said with satisfaction. Ethan raised an eyebrow, a teasing grin on his face. 2 people? Grace, you sound like an expert. What's wrong with 2 people? There's literally enough room for 2, Grace stated matter-of-factly. If Her Highness thinks it works, then it definitely works. Plenty of room to maneuver in the future. No problem at all. I can stretch my legs out fully. Can you switch into different positions? Yeah, I can even cross my legs, no issue. Ethan chuckled darkly. Naturally, it's not a luxury car if it doesn't have the space. But I still need to confirm some other specs and functions. What specs? Grace asked curiously. Ethan put on a serious face. Like shock absorption, soundproofing, vibration effects, and whether the seats can recline all the way flat. Grace rolled her eyes at him. Is that stuff important? Of course it is. Otherwise, you lose out on so much ambience. I mean fun. Ethan nodded solemnly. Ugh, you're being weird. I don't get it. Grace shot him a disdainful look, sensing something slightly perverted in his tone. Susan stepped forward then, smiling professionally. Sir, the shock absorption on this model is top tier. The suspension is tuned for comfort. If you plan on driving aggressively occasionally, you can contact the manufacturer for sport tuning. But a softer suspension is good. It makes for a smooth ride. Ethan quipped, a steady ride is definitely better. This car is nice. Can I take it for a test drive? Susan nodded. Of course. Any customer who comes in for a consultation is welcome to test drive. Susan sat in the back to explain some of the driving points and features, while Ethan buckled up and drove the car out of the lot. The road was wide and empty. Ethan only had to drive a short distance to feel the throttle and braking characteristics. It was incredibly linear, worthy of a luxury brand. After a loop, they returned to the dealership. Ethan got out of the car, satisfied. All right, this is the one. You have new stock in the garage, right? Of course. Sir, you want to buy the car? Susan was stunned, shocked to her core. She hadn't expected this young man to actually buy it. Ethan laughed. Why else would I be hanging around here if not to buy a car? I want this model. How much? Can I take it home today? Well, sir, the total price for this model is $42,000. Susan was still a bit dazed. Happiness had come too suddenly. Was the deal really closing just like that? $42,000, That price is a bit steep. Go apply for a discount for me. I'm paying in full cash, Ethan mused. Full payment. Susan gasped, looking at Ethan in disbelief. Over 40 grand in one lump sum? This young man was loaded. Oh my God. If she had listened to Lou earlier, she would have missed out on a massive client. Lou was going to be green with regret. Okay. I'll go ask right away. Sir, please have a seat in the lounge. I'll get you some water. Susan's attitude became even more enthusiastic. She poured water for Ethan and Grace, then sprinted to the manager's office. Manager, there's a VIP outside who wants to buy an Audi A6 in full. A huge client. He wants a discount. Susan exclaimed excitedly. This would be the most expensive car she had sold since joining the company. Lou was also in the office and asked in shock, is it those 2 kids from outside? Yeah, Lou. Susan nodded, beaming. Lou was instantly dumbfounded. Holy crap. That kid has that kind of money. He missed out on a whale. Damn it. Susan actually snagged him. The middle-aged manager heard full payment and smiled. A young man like that probably comes from money. Likely a low-key trust fund kid. For the discount, it's about showing respect. Give him a floor price. $38,500. Hearing this, Susan rejoiced. Great, I'll go tell him right now. Susan left the office and returned to the lounge, saying to Ethan, Mr. Ford, our manager says we can give you our absolute best price, $38,500. How does that sound? Ethan thought for a moment and nodded. That's very sincere of you. If I change cars in the future, I'll prioritize your dealership. Let's get the paperwork ready. Give me a temporary tag. The price was already below the actual market transaction price. He was decisive. Great. No problem. Susan beamed. Both parties signed the purchase contract, and then, using the card terminal, he swiped for the full amount in one go. After handling the temporary license plate at the nearby DMV office, Ethan drove the car off the lot right then and there. "We look forward to seeing you again." Susan bowed respectfully as she sent Ethan off. She looked back to see Lou's sour expression and secretly snickered. The first thing after picking up the car was to fill the tank at a nearby gas station. Gas prices were low, so filling the tank didn't cost much. After gassing up, Ethan drove Grace toward the Mill residential compound. Inside the car, Grace watched the streetscape retreating outside the window. The vibration from the road was minimal, light years better than the beat-up taxi they had taken to get there. It felt incredibly novel. "This ride really is comfortable," Grace exclaimed. "It sure is. Your Highness, now that we have a car, let's find some time to go play in the surrounding area. A car expands your living radius. It'd be a waste not to drive it out," Ethan said with a smile. "Play? Go where?" Grace asked, puzzled. "Scenic spots nearby, places with nice views. Camping, fishing, picnics, that sort of thing," Ethan suggested. "Camping? Picnics? Sounds amazing," Grace said excitedly. She had only seen camping in magazines and was envious of that lifestyle, being close to nature, mountains, and water. She had even searched for camping posts on internet forums. The leisurely life described in the text sounded so wonderful. "Then it's a date. Before school starts, while we still have time, let's pick a day to go." Ethan smiled. "Sure thing, mister. Big shot. I'm riding your coattails on this one." Grace covered her mouth and laughed. The two discussed camping as the car cruised down the road at a steady pace. Ethan occasionally glanced at Grace out of the corner of his eye. The window was cracked open slightly, and the breeze lifted her long, jet-black hair, revealing her finely sculpted profile. Her skin was flawless, white as jade, seemingly glowing with a soft halo. She was breathtaking. Grace closed her eyes, feeling the breeze on her face, a faint smile on her lips that was utterly captivating. Suddenly, she smiled. "Jerk, can we drive far away in the future? Like to really far places?" Ethan said dotingly. "Of course. Wherever you want to go, I'll take you. No matter how far, I'll be with you." Grace paused, and a blush quietly climbed up her cheeks. "Hey, you said it. I didn't force you. You promised me. You have to keep your word." The new ride dusk. The entrance to the Mill residential compound. A group of elderly residents sat under the big tree at the entrance, cooling off and gossiping about neighborhood affairs. "Mrs. Agnes, is your bike fixed yet?" Old man Henderson waved his fan, asking casually. Mrs. Agnes was sitting by the gate, peeling pumpkin vines. She cursed as she worked. "The tire is fixed, but the chain snapped again. Just my rotten luck. I don't know which bastard slashed my tire. If I find out, I'll break their dog legs." The mere mention of the tire made her furious. Last time, after eating breakfast, she went to get her bike only to find the tire flat after 2 pedals. When she got off to prop it up, she twisted her ankle. She had exploded with rage and cursed in the street for half the day. After hurting her ankle, she rested for a while and asked around the neighborhood, but everyone said they hadn't seen who slashed the tire. She had to swallow the loss, bottling up a belly full of anger. Every time it was mentioned, she got worked up. Old man Henderson secretly chuckled. "Mrs. Agnes, you really have been unlucky lately. Why don't you go to church tomorrow? Pray for a change of fortune." Mrs. Agnes glared at him. "Pray for what? Go pray yourself. Pray you live a few more years." "You." Old man Henderson's eyes bulged in anger. There was no talking to this woman. Her mouth was like a knife, vicious and sharp. "Umph, you deserve to get your tires slashed." Another old lady nearby urged. "Agnes, don't talk like that. Henderson means well, don't curse him." "How did I curse him? If I were his age, I'd have lived enough." "Whatever happens, happens, Mrs. Agnes said stubbornly. The other seniors shook their heads. This woman was truly hard to get along with. A total shrew. No wonder nobody in the neighborhood liked her. Old man Henderson huffed and turned his head away, ignoring her. At that moment, the flow of people getting off work from the steel mill increased. Many motorcycles drove into the compound. 2 motorcycles passed by her, spraying exhaust fumes in her face. "You dead bastard. Are you blind? Can't you see someone sitting here?" One of the motorcycles stopped, and the middle-aged rider complained. "This is a road, not your living room. Who told you to sit here?" Mrs. Agnes pointed at his nose and cursed. "I'll sit wherever I want. None of your damn business. Dead bastard. If you hit me, I'll sue you to death." "You blind jerk. Loser." The middle-aged man's face turned black. Too lazy to argue with her, he drove off. Mrs. Agnes cursed for another few minutes after he left before sitting back down to peel her vines. Beep beep. Suddenly, Two car horn blasts sounded behind her, making her jump. She was about to launch into a tirade, but when she turned around, she saw a sleek sedan. It looked exactly like the cars the top executives drove at the mill. Good heavens, is some big shot visiting? The appearance of the Audi at the gate attracted the attention of passers-by, who gathered around to look and speculate. Holy cow, an Audi luxury car. That thing must cost 40 grand. Is some executive visiting? Must be a big boss. Who else drives a car like that? Damn, that's a sharp car. Look at that presence. Is it someone from the city government? Hearing the chatter, Mrs. Agnes realized she was blocking the way. She quickly put on a fawning smile, stood up, and bowed repeatedly to the car in apology. Oh, my sorry about that, sir. I'll move right away. Old man Henderson, watching from the side, was delighted. Go on, keep being fierce. Keep cursing. Let's see you try. Look at that sycophantic face. The other seniors cast disdainful glances at her. Mrs. Agnes stood awkwardly by the roadside, bowing constantly and apologizing. Sir, please don't mind me. Sorry, have a safe drive. The Audi slowly inched forward and stopped right next to Mrs. Agnes. The driver's side window slowly rolled down, revealing Ethan's smiling face. Mrs. Agnes, you're quite polite today. Making progress, Ethan mocked. Inside the car, Grace was dying of laughter, clutching her stomach. Seeing Mrs. Agnes's terrified, respectful act just now was absolutely hilarious. When Mrs. Agnes saw it was Ethan driving, with Grace in the car, she looked as if she had been struck by lightning. She stood frozen on the spot. This car is his. How is that kid, Ethan, driving a luxury car like this? My God, did he latch on to some rich relative? The other seniors also noticed Ethan and Grace in the car and were stunned. Ethan, is this your car? Old man Henderson asked, utterly shocked. Yeah, Mr. Henderson, just bought it. Ethan replied with a smile. My heavens, your family hit the jackpot. Mr. Henderson looked shocked. Everyone in the neighborhood knew Ethan had become the state top scorer on the SAT's equivalent. They were already envious, praising Frank and Mary whenever they saw them. But nobody expected Ethan to buy a luxury car. This was even more shocking. The car looked expensive. The Ford family was truly taking off. Nothing could stop them. Mr. Henderson, we're heading out. Let's grab tea sometime. Ethan said his goodbyes and drove off. Everyone watched the taillights of the luxury car recede, buzzing with discussion. Ethan is going places. Just graduated, and he already bought a luxury car. I heard he opened a store outside. Must be making big money. What kind of store? Something about electronics. I don't know the details, but there really is a store. Really? That's impressive. That kid is amazing. No kidding. Great grades, top scorer, and knows how to make money. If only he were my grandson. The Ford family is set for life. Rising to the top. So envious. Family ride. Ethan parked the car downstairs, and he and Grace went up for dinner. At home, Mary Ford had prepared the meal. Frank Ford and George Miller were smoking and chatting in the living room. Seeing Ethan return, Frank asked with a smile, Son, did you buy the car? Which one did you get? Yeah, Dad. I bought an Audi A6. Ethan pulled out the car keys to show them, then took a pack of Parliament cigarettes from his pocket and handed one to George. Uncle George, smoke? George Miller paused when he saw the Parliaments. My God, Ethan, you're smoking Parliaments now? Not bad. You really are a boss. Just keep them on me. Sometimes I smoke them when meeting partners. Ethan scratched his head, speaking modestly. Then I'm in luck today to smoke a Parliament. Frank, you have a good son. George praised loudly. Frank laughed. Ethan really has made something of himself. I'm truly relieved. Saying that, he reached out and took the keys from Ethan's hand, examining them carefully. What kind of car is an Audi A6? I haven't heard of it. He was a low-level technician at the mill. He hadn't ridden in a four-wheeled vehicle many times in his life, and knew even less about cars. With his current salary, he wouldn't be able to buy a car even if he worked for another few decades, especially with layoffs looming. Buying a car was something he only dared to do in dreams. Unexpectedly, this dream had been realized by Ethan. George took a puff of the Parliament and laughed. Frank, an Audi A6 is an executive car. I've only seen city leaders ride in them. It's for people at this level. He held up 2 fingers to Frank, the top boss, the second in command. That's who rides in these. My God, is it expensive? Frank was shocked. If it wasn't expensive, would it be called a luxury car? It's an import brand. Must be 20 or 30 grand. George guessed, then looked up at Ethan. Ethan, how much did you pay? Uncle, the base price was $38,300. With fees and insurance, it came to about $40,000. Ethan sat down next to George. What? 40,000? George and Frank spoke in unison, filled with astonishment. They knew the car was expensive, but they didn't expect it to be that expensive. $40,000 was an astronomical figure for an ordinary family. Frank's mouth twitched. Although he knew Ethan had made money, hearing that $40,000 was spent still made his heart ache inexplicably. Ethan, that's a lot of money. George stunned for a moment, then laughed and patted Ethan on the shoulder. Haha, don't listen to your dad. Doing business outside, you need a luxury car to keep up appearances. If you drive a regular car, it won't work. How can you make money if deals fall through? Ethan, you really are promising. Better than your Uncle George. Don't look at me just because I'm a vice director. I'm still just a wage earner. I haven't earned as much as this car costs in years. Ethan said humbly, No, I still have to learn a lot from you, Uncle. George's eyes were filled with appreciation for Ethan. Ethan, out of nearly 300 million people in this country, not many can afford a car, let alone a luxury one like this. You don't need to be modest. It's worth being proud of. Ethan is really a good kid. Good person, good character, good grades, strong earning ability. The ideal candidate for a son-in-law. Sigh, it's just a pity that Grace and Ethan don't seem to click. George looked at Grace, who was carelessly eating an orange nearby with her mouth full, and shook his head secretly. Frank said cheerfully, Let's go sit in it after dinner and experience it. Great. I haven't sat in such a luxury car either. Let's go after we eat. George was in high spirits. At this moment, Mary and Lily Miller brought the dishes out from the kitchen. Mary called out, Come eat. Grace, Ethan, go wash your hands. Okay. Aunt Mary, Grace said obediently. The two families ate happily together. Frank was especially happy and drank a few glasses with George. After dinner, Ethan took the four elders downstairs for a drive. They drove around the neighborhood several times. The elders discussed excitedly in the car, as if they had discovered a new continent. Frank played with the power windows several times, marveling at the high-end tech. After a few satisfying laps, they returned to the compound. Ethan parked the car, and the four elders went upstairs. He was about to follow when he saw Grace sitting under a tree eating a rocket pop. Grace, you're eating rocket pops again? Ethan smiled and walked over, sitting next to her. Is there one for me? Grace rolled her eyes at him, then took a rocket pop hidden behind her back and handed it to him. Here, I wanted to eat it myself. Humph. Ethan stared at her expression. Seeing her eyes flicker, he laughed. Stop pretending. You definitely saved it for me on purpose. Thanks. Grace blushed and huffed. You think too highly of yourself. Who would save one specifically for you? Honestly, Ethan chuckled, tore open the wrapper, and ate the popsicle. Grace, I checked my work schedule. I'm free the day after tomorrow. Let's go camping. Okay, I'm free every day now anyway. Just waiting for school to start, Grace said happily. Ethan said with delight. Then it's settled. Just the two of us. Grace paused and asked, What? Wayne and Henry aren't going. Ethan said with a straight face, Oh, them. They're super busy with work. No free time at all. Boss, let me see your new car. Suddenly, Wayne Tank Turner trotted over from a distance. When he saw the Audi A6, he shouted excitedly at Ethan, Whoa, what cool car. Boss, I'm off in 2 days. Let's drive somewhere for fun. Ethan, damn it. Tank, your timing sucks. Cough, cough, Tank, don't you have a lot of work? Ethan winked at Wayne, signaling him with his eyes. It was too dark, and Wayne didn't see his expression. He walked up to them excitedly and said, Oh, hey, Campus Queen is here too. Boss, where are we going to play in 2 days? Just a cruise nearby. Grace asked with a confused look. Tank didn't miss her. Big shots say you were busy in 2 days. Huh? What? I have comp time coming up. Wayne was stunned. Ethan coughed dryly. Tank, you remembered wrong. No comp time. Didn't you say you have to go to the news store to train new staff? As he spoke, Ethan shot him another look. Wayne finally caught the signal and hurriedly corrected himself. Right. I don't have comp time. I remembered wrong. Grace stared at him suspiciously. Really? Truer than 24K gold. I swear. Wayne immediately held up 4 fingers. He screamed internally, Oh, crap. Almost ruined the boss's good thing. Thank God I reacted fast. Ethan chuckled and patted his shoulder with relief. Tank, turn the grief of your breakup into motivation. I believe in you. Wayne wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and laughed dryly. Yes, boss. Definitely. I'll work hard. Does Henry have something too? What about bringing Hannah? Grace asked. Wayne waved his hands hurriedly. Oh, well, Henry is busy too. Busier than me. And Hannah has to prepare for school. Hey, Grace, just go with the boss. Grace licked her rocket pop, turned to look at Ethan, and said helplessly, "All right, I thought you guys were going. More people is livelier, more fun." Ethan chuckled, bit off half his popsicle, and smiled. "Grace, actually, two people can be fun too. What can two people play? Just whatever two people can play. More than friends, fine then. I haven't gone anywhere all summer break. It'll be good to relax," Grace said with anticipation. "Exactly. Gotta have work-life balance," Ethan agreed. "Then it's settled. I'm going home to prep. Tomorrow I'll buy some gear." Hee hee. Grace stood up and skipped upstairs. After she left, Wayne asked with a fawning look, "Hey, boss, how'd I do just now?" "Not bad, not bad. I'll give you a raise later." Ethan laughed. "Boss is awesome. Boss is number one. Wise and martial, elegant and dashing. A total player, leaking dominance." Wayne shouted excitedly. "Ethan, Tank, if you don't know how to use idioms, don't use them. That's called suave and debonair, radiating dominance. Bah, wait, forget the leaking. I'm going back to sleep." Ethan shook his head and walked away with his hands behind his back. Wayne scratched his head. "Is it? Holding dominance." That night, Grace took a shower and happily looked up camping guides online. Suddenly, the instant messenger chirped. She opened it. It was a message from her deskmate and bestie, Chloe Jones. They had both successfully gotten into Illinois Tech, same major. "Chloe, Grace, you still awake? What ya doing?" Tongue sticking out. "Grace, searching for camping info. I'm going camping the day after tomorrow." "Chloe, camping? By yourself? Or with who?" "Grace, with Mr. Big Shot. He bought a car, so it's convenient, haha." "Chloe, huh? Just the two of you?" "Grace, yeah. What?" "Chloe, holy crap. You and him aren't dating, are you?" Grace rolled her eyes and immediately typed. "Where's your brain going? Dating what? Warning you, don't get any ideas." "Chloe, at school I always saw you guys hanging out. Dating would be normal." Grace blushed and typed. "No way. Stop talking nonsense." "Chloe, really no?" "Grace, really, smiley face." "Chloe, I don't believe it. I think you two are a good match. In school, other guys couldn't get near you, only Ethan. If you're dating, just say it. I won't laugh at you. I'd congratulate you." "Grace, believe what you want. Anyway, no." "Chloe, really no? Then do you have feelings for him? Otherwise, why would you agree to go camping with Ethan for no reason and just the two of you? Think about it. Lone man, lone woman, out in the wild. Sparks flying. Hit, hit." Grace had black lines over her head. "You're the one with sparks flying? We're just going camping, fishing, having a picnic, relaxing. Not as complicated as you think." "Chloe, back at school, that campus hunk Luke only asked you to eat at the school gate, and I never saw you agree. Now you agree to a couple's retreat with Ethan." "Grace, is that the same? That Luke guy is annoying. I can't stand him." "Chloe, so you mean Ethan isn't annoying? And you still say no feelings?" Grace's cheeks burned as she defended herself. "Really no." "Chloe, then let me ask you, did you really grow up together?" "Yeah." "Do you hate him?" "No." "If he was in danger, would you worry about him?" Probably. He became a state top scorer. Were you happy for him?" Happy. Oh, then I get it. You are more than friends, less than lovers." "Huh? What?" Grace's face turned redder, her heart pounding. "What are you saying? More than friends, less than lovers? Nonsense." "Chloe, I'm not talking nonsense. I've watched 8 Taiwanese romance dramas to get this experience, okay? In the dramas, the male and female leads always go through this phase. I've summarized the experience. More than friends, less than lovers means your relationship has surpassed friendship, but is just a tiny bit short of being lovers. Get it?" "Grace, what the heck, no way." "Chloe, fine, fine, won't make you mad. Treat it as me talking nonsense. Sigh, but honestly, sometimes I envy you having a childhood sweetheart. I don't know how my boyfriend is doing now." Grace paused. "Chloe has a boyfriend." Before she could type, Chloe continued. "Don't know if he's eating well, sleeping well, or if he's even been born yet." "Grace." "Chloe, why the rush? Maybe you'll find a boyfriend in college." "Chloe, Grace, you think I'm you? You wave your hand, and the guys who want to be your boyfriend could fill the football field." "Grace, it's not that exaggerated. You're too much." "Chloe, how is it not? Tons of guys chased you in high school. You just didn't like any of them." "Oh wait, you liked one. Ethan. You guys played together all day. I think Ethan is pretty good. If you don't want him, let me have him." "Grace, don't. That jerk has a ton of bad habits. You definitely won't like him." "Chloe, look, getting defensive. Someone's anxious. Still say no feelings for Ethan?" Grace's face was bright red. She glared at the screen and immediately typed. Forget it. Not talking nonsense with you. I'm going to sleep." After speaking, Grace immediately closed the messenger, but she sat dazed in front of the computer, motionless. More than friends, less than lovers. Is it? Should be. Maybe. Probably not, right? Grace stared blankly, murmuring. Then, she left her seat, went back to bed, and lay down, staring at the ceiling. Her thoughts were a mess, her mind filled with various images of being with Ethan. Frustrated, she grabbed the pink pig plushie next to her and pinched its face. Piggy, tell me, how is that jerk? Piggy, why no reaction? Forget it, what use are you? Grace glared at it and punched it flying. Into the water early morning, the day after next. The weather was clear. Grace wore a bucket hat and carried a small suitcase standing downstairs. A moment later, Ethan drove over and stopped in front of her. Grace, that's all you're bringing? Ethan asked with a smile, getting out to help her with the luggage. It's just one night. Why bring so much? Just 2 outfits and some toiletries, Grace pouted. Ethan opened the trunk. Tajda, look what I bought. Grace walked over to take a look. It was packed with bags, big and small. A large bundle was definitely a tent. Not bad, mister. Big shot. You got everything, Grace said happily. Yup, tent, camping set, got it all. Cost me $1,000. Ethan nodded. All right, get in. Let's roll. Grace cheerfully sat in the passenger seat and buckled up. Ethan, drive on. Yes, Your Highness. Seat tight. Departing. Ethan buckled up, started the car, and drove forward. Their destination was a place called North Lake in the suburbs. According to online info, many netizens had camped there. It was far from the city, with clear water and beautiful scenery. In the car, a CD played Bon Jovi songs. They were both familiar with the songs and hummed along lightly all the way, very happy. Ethan even imitated John Bon Jovi's raspy voice, sounding quite similar. Hey, mister. Big shot, you can actually sing. Grace said, slightly surprised. Ethan rarely sang in front of her, and it was unexpectedly good. Of course. Back in the day, I was top 10. Cough, I'm just naturally gifted. Ethan almost mentioned being a top 10 campus singer. He hadn't trained specifically, just sang along, but had a good sense of pitch. Give you an inch, and you take a mile. Grace rolled her eyes at him. If you don't believe me, I'll give you a solo concert tonight. How about that? Ethan laughed. Solo concert. I don't believe it, Grace said, turning to look out the window. Besides the retreating scenery, the window vaguely reflected their silhouettes. Grace stared at Ethan's face in the reflection, and suddenly blushed. From aside, Mr. Big Shot is actually kind of handsome. Thinking this, she turned back and stole a glance at him. From aside, Ethan's profile was delicate, with a bit of a scholarly air. For so long, although they were always together, she hadn't really examined his face carefully many times. Now, in the confined space of the car, she looked closely. Grace, is there dirt on my face? Ethan asked suddenly, touching his face. No. Grace blushed and turned to look out the window again. Then why were you staring at me? Haha, say it. Do you like me? Ethan teased. I can look if I want. Out in the open. I don't mind. TCH, who's looking at you? Shameless. Grace stiffened her neck and denied it. But right now, her little heart was pounding like a deer crashing around her chest. Ethan glanced at her sideways and laughed. Still won't admit it. Then why is your face red? Cough, cough, sunburn. Is that a problem? Grace pouted and argued. Drive your car. Why so much nonsense? Seeing her stubborn, dead duck mouth hard appearance, Ethan rejoiced secretly. Grace looked truly cute like this. The car sped along the road. About 2 hours later, after passing a bumpy dirt road and asking 2 villagers for directions, they finally arrived at North Lake. The fierce sun roasted the earth. Although the dog days of summer had passed, the heat in the state hadn't subsided. Along the way, Ethan saw other tourists and villagers swimming in the reservoir and others camping nearby. To avoid the crowd, they drove a bit further and found a flat, open area close to the lake. Perfect. Right here. Ethan parked in the clearing, refreshed by the open view of the lake and mountains. Nice. Camping here will definitely be comfortable. Grace shouted excitedly, unbuckling and getting out to breathe the fresh air. Ooh, the air is so fresh. Grace put her hands on her hips, took a few deep breaths, and looked at the rippling lake surface with a happy expression. Ethan also got out and smiled. The sun is strong. Let's set up the tent and canopy first. Okay, but I don't know how to set up a tent. Grace stuck out her tongue, admitting honestly. Don't worry, I do. I'll teach you. Ethan waved his hand, then opened the trunk and pulled out a large bundle, the tent. Grace saw he only pulled out one tent. She paused and asked in astonishment. Ethan, just one tent? Yeah. How many did you think? Ethan asked casually as he unzipped the bag. Grace froze. Then would she be sleeping in the same tent as him tonight? Thinking of this, her cheeks reddened, and she muttered, "Fine, fine." For some reason, there was a little anticipation in her heart. She shook her head, shaking off the messy thoughts. "Grace Miller, what are you thinking? It's not like we haven't slept in the same bed before. Grace, help me pull the tent fabric. I'll thread the poles," Ethan said without looking up. Okay." Before long, a person-high tent was erected by Ethan. The space inside was spacious enough for 4 adults. After hammering in the stakes and laying down the mats, everything was done. Done. How is it, Grace? My tent pitching skills aren't bad, right? Ethan clapped his hands, laughing proudly. "Oh, didn't know you had this skill, jerk. Not bad. Worthy of praise." Grace complimented. "Tent is up. Let's go fishing. I bought fishing rods and a folding umbrella specifically. 1 rod each," Ethan said, taking the gear from the trunk and assembling it by the shore. "Done. But I want to go for a swim. Grace, want to join? It's so hot. The lake water is cool. Swimming will be great." Ethan turned and asked. "No, I don't want to get my clothes wet." Grace shook her head. "Haha, then I'll go myself." Ethan took off his shirt and ran into the lake. Grace warned worriedly, "Jerk, don't swim too far. Be careful." "I know," Ethan responded, then dove into the lake, resurfacing to swim around like a fish. Grace shook her head and smiled, returning to the car to get snacks from her suitcase, planning to eat while fishing. A few minutes later, when she returned to the shore with snacks, she didn't hear Ethan anymore. "Jerk," Grace shouted, but there was no response. Her heart instantly jumped to her throat. Did something happen to him in there? "Mr. Big Shot, where are you? Ethan, stop playing. Come out." Grace yelled a few more times, but still no response. Her face changed color instantly. Did something really happen? Grace's face was full of anxiety and worry. The next moment, she gritted her teeth and dove into the lake without hesitation. "Ethan, you can't die." She dove anxiously, searching constantly, crying tears that mixed with the lake water until they were indistinguishable. "You jerk!" Grace shouted with a sobbing tone. At this moment, her heart felt like it was falling into an abyss. At this moment, it felt like she had lost the most important thing in her life. At this moment, countless thoughts and regrets flooded her heart. "Gee, Grace, you called me." Suddenly, Ethan's voice came from the shore behind her. Grace whipped her head around and saw Ethan standing on the bank, holding a bag of plums. For a moment, both of them froze. "Damn it, you jerk!" Grace swam to shore quickly and grabbed Ethan in a tight hug, as if afraid he would disappear again. Grace, what are you doing?" Ethan asked blankly. Grace looked up, eyes red, tears streaming down uncontrollably. "Bad guy. Jerk. Where did you go? I thought you. Asshole. I saw someone picking fruit while swimming, so I swam over to check. The local was nice and gave me a bag." Ethan lifted the bag to show her. "Asshole. Then why didn't you answer me?" Grace let go of him, wiping away tears. "I heard your voice, so after getting the plums, didn't I run back?" Ethan said helplessly. "What did you think I was doing?" Grace sobbed, glaring at him. "Asshole. Scaring me. I thought you died in the lake." Seeing her angry, aggrieved look and seeing her cry so sadly for the first time, Ethan felt a pang of heartache and pulled her into his arms. "I made you worry." The confession Ethan comforted her for a long time before Grace finally calmed down a bit. Grace broke free from his embrace, glaring at him, gritting her teeth. "Do you know how worried I was just now?" Yeah, my bad. Really sorry." Ethan scratched his head apologetically. An apology is enough? Then what do you want? If I don't fix you up, I can't vent this anger." Thud. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Ethan was taken down by a back throw from Grace, followed by a headlock. "That's for scaring me." Grace huffed. "Your Highness, let go. You want to murder your husband." Ethan shouted repeatedly. Grace blushed and spat. Who's murdering their husband? Shameless." Actually, she didn't use much strength, just locking Ethan on the ground, holding his head against her chest. Ethan rubbed his head around, cooperating by pretending to struggle, but in reality. Haha, Grace is pretty magnificent. No, I should say broad-minded. Grace sensed something was wrong. Her face turned redder, and she kicked him away. "Bastard, still trying to take advantage of me." Ethan patted the dust off himself and grinned. "Hey, that's not my fault. Your Highness, you know me. I've always been a gentleman." Grace rubbed her fingers, eyes flashing coldly. "Gentlemen, let's see how gentle you are. Don't run. Don't chase me then. Stand still for this lady. You stand still first. Jerk, don't run if you have guts." "I definitely have guts, but I still have to run. Bite me. Damn it." The two chased and played on the shore until Grace got tired and her anger mostly dissipated. Truce. Go change your clothes quickly, or you'll catch a cold. Ethan leaned on the car, panting and smiling. As he spoke, he stared at Grace. Grace was soaked through. Her clothes clung tightly to her body, revealing her perfect curves completely. Ethan's eyes went straight, gulping. Sure enough, Grace has got the goods. Grace felt his gaze. It felt like ants crawling on her skin. She quickly covered her chest with her hands, embarrassed and angry. What are you looking at? Just you wait. Dropping the threat, Grace ducked into the tent to change. A while later, she came out wearing a white shirt and tight jeans, though her hair was still wet. Seeing she still looked angry, Ethan quickly coaxed. Hey, Grace, don't be mad. I have a surprise for you. What surprise? Grace glared at him. In the trunk. I'll get it. Ethan quickly opened the trunk. Deep inside was a small, styrofoam cooler. He carried the cooler out to the canopy. Grace walked over curiously, watching him open it. Rocket Pops. Grace's eyes lit up, shouting in surprise. Indeed, the cooler was filled with ice and 10 Rocket Pops. Ethan had intended to bring them out at night as a surprise, but to coax her now, he had to use them early. Here, with the cooler, keeping them for 2 days is no problem, Ethan laughed. Hey, not bad, not bad. Grace snatched a Rocket Pop and ate it happily. Ethan wiped cold sweat secretly. Good thing he was prepared. Grace was surprisingly easy to coax. 1 Rocket Pop did the trick. If not, then 2. After the truce, they continued fishing. Grace ate 3 Rocket Pops in a row and seemed to have truly cooled down, joining the fishing. From afternoon until sunset, they had a bountiful harvest. Each caught 3 fish, perfect for dinner. Sunset fell, night arrived. A campfire was lit in the camp, and fish soup boiled over it, smelling delicious. Soup's done. Drink it while it's hot. Ethan was very satisfied with his handmade fish soup, filling a large bowl for Grace. Grace was already starving. She only had snacks for lunch. Having fish soup and fragrant rice at night was wonderful. She gorged herself, eating with relish. Eat slowly. Watch out for bones. Ethan smiled and warned. Grace mumbled a response. Ethan ate while feeling the cool breeze, then suddenly asked, Grace, did you really worry I croaked earlier? Grace almost choked on her rice. Her eyes darted away. No way. But you cried like a pear blossom bathed in rain, Ethan teased. Grace blushed and turned her head, refusing to speak. Her shy appearance was fully captured by Ethan. Ethan laughed internally. This girl so stubborn. Grace, I have another surprise for you later. Another surprise? Mister, big shot, what are you up to? Grace rolled her eyes. Hey, you'll know after you're full. Then I'm full. Grace put down her chopsticks and bowl, wiping her mouth. She wanted to see what Ethan was up to. Ethan chuckled. Since you're so impatient, fine. Put this blindfold on first. He pulled a blindfold from behind him, stood up, and put it on her. What is it? Why so mysterious? Grace muttered. You'll see. No peeking, Ethan emphasis. Grace was puzzled, but inexplicably, there was a little anticipation in her heart, and a flutter. Next, Ethan held her hand and led her to stand in an open space. Stand here. Don't move. Ethan smiled. Grace was blindfolded, seeing nothing, but she could hear Ethan's footsteps leaving. A moment later, she heard him running back. Then a rustling sound. She grew more curious and wanted to peek. But just as she opened a slit, she saw Ethan's face right in front of her. Caught you. Cover it back up. Surprise is coming right up. If you see it, how is it a surprise? Ethan stared at her dotingly. Fine, Grace pouted and covered her eyes again. A moment later, she heard Ethan running back quickly. Okay, taking off the blindfold. Ethan's voice rang in her ear. Blindfold off. Grace only saw a flash of light in the distance. Shum! A firework soared up like a meteor in the night sky. Bang! The firework exploded, blooming with brilliant light. The lake was like a mirror, reflecting the fireworks. The moment was like a dream. Shum, shum, shum. Fireworks soared continuously, blooming brilliantly. The explosions were like the sound of summer youth, passionate, unrestrained, fearless. Grace was stunned by the scene, covering her mouth, eyes full of surprise and emotion. So beautiful. She looked up at the fireworks, tears glistening in her eyes. Ethan prepared this just for me? How is it? Like it? Ethan stood beside her, asking softly. Grace nodded heavily, then turned and hugged him tight, tears of emotion sliding from the corners of her eyes. Jerk, you bastard, keeping secrets from me again. Ethan gently wiped away her tear and spoke in the most solemn tone. Grace. I have something I want to tell you. What? I like you. Seal with a kiss. I like you. The sentence exploded in Grace's mind like thunder, leaving her blank. The jerk said he likes me? Did I hear wrong? No, didn't hear wrong. Holy crap. Is this a confession? Grace stood frozen, her whole body stiff, thoughts swirling in her mind like paste. Ethan, seeing her dazed expression, couldn't help but smile. I know, saying this so suddenly might scare you, but I don't want to leave any regrets in my youth. God gave me a chance, and I have to seize it. I can't miss out on you again. I don't want to regret it for life. No one knows what accidents tomorrow might bring. So I chose a chance to confess my feelings to you. I don't know if you will accept this feeling, but I don't regret it. Even if you reject me, I won't regret it. This was a premeditated confession. Ethan had wanted to find a right time to bare his heart. When the private camping date came up, he knew this was it. So he prepared a lot. A tent big enough for only two, a cooler of rocket pops, a box of fireworks. Hoping to speak the words hidden in his heart in the right atmosphere. Now he had done it. After saying it, Ethan felt suddenly light, relieved in that instant. Regardless of the result, he had finally expressed his feelings. Ethan looked at the still-dazed Grace and smiled bitterly inside. Was it really too abrupt? Did I scare her? Or is Grace not ready to accept it yet? Sigh, maybe I was too rushed. Ethan let go of her hand and smiled wryly. All right, Grace. I admit I was a bit rushed. If you can't accept it, just pretend you didn't hear what I said. Suddenly, Grace grabbed his collar, pulled him close, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed him directly on the lips. MH. Ethan's eyes went wide, dumbfounded. Boom. This time it was Ethan's head that exploded, going blank. He was bewildered by Grace's sudden forced kiss. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming. Unbelievable. But feeling Grace's warm lips, he realized this wasn't a dream or an illusion. A moment later, Grace pulled away, face red, glaring at him with embarrassment and annoyance. Jerk, I like you too. Jerk, from now on, you belong to the queen. This domineering declaration stunned Ethan. Sure enough, Grace is Grace. This style is very Grace. A smile crept onto Ethan's lips. That diary was true after all. So, does that mean you're willing to be my girlfriend? Grace's cheeks turned apple red. She huffed. What do you think? We kissed. What else do you want? Since childhood, she didn't know when she started liking Ethan. She just wanted to be with him every day, see him every day. First thing in the morning was waking him up. Every night he was in her dreams. She felt nothing for any boy except Ethan. Other guys just didn't measure up. She always thought maybe it was just because they were so close, knew each other so well, that she lost any fantasy about other guys. But Chloe's words the other night made her realize she had just fallen for Ethan. Although the thought was there, she didn't know Ethan's feelings, so she hid it deep inside, daring not to show it. Now, hearing Ethan's confession, coming back from her shock, her heart was filled with surprise and sweetness. Yes, like eating honey. Sweet. The thin layer of paper between them was finally pierced in that moment. No, I can't take a loss. I need a kiss back. Ethan smiled slightly and lowered his head to kiss her. MH. Grace's eyes widened, heart pounding like it would explode. Fireworks bloomed, brilliant light in the dark night, reflecting on the mirror-like lake. Two people embracing by the lake, kissing, as if only they existed in the world. This scene was like a romantic, beautiful painting. The sweet, ambiguous atmosphere was about to spill out of the frame. A long time later, Ethan let her go, licking his lips as if wanting more. Grace blushed her neck. Seeing Ethan's expression, she felt even more shy and annoyed. She grabbed his ear. Jerk, what is that expression? Ow, I'll let go, Ethan shouted. She let him go. The next moment, their eyes met, and they smiled simultaneously. Perhaps this was their tacit understanding. Grace said proudly, starting now, the queen officially announces, you are my boyfriend. Jerk, give me your hand. Why can't I hold my boyfriend's hand? Saying so, Grace grabbed Ethan's hand, a sweet smile on her lips. A smile that could melt a heart. Ethan laughed dotingly. Okay, hold it for a lifetime if you want. Bang, bang, bang. Fireworks were still blooming. Hand in hand, they looked up at the brilliant sky together. Grace, let me ask you something. What? Do you have a diary? Huh? How do you know? Did you read my diary? Cool. No. Ivasha. Why ask that suddenly? Wait, I remember hiding it. Even my parents don't know. Just asking casually. One more thing. What? When did you start liking me? Elementary? Middle school? Not sure. Because it's a weird feeling. It's a process, not a moment. I see. Thank you, Grace. Thank me for what? Thank you for appearing in my life. Ethan turned to look at her, eyes full of deep affection. God gave me a second life, and you gave me my first true love. Meeting you, even if it used up 100 lifetimes of luck, is worth it. Grace smiled sweetly. Jerk, when did you become so smooth-talking? Haven't I always been? You didn't feel it just now? How about one more time? Grace. Bastard. Warning you. Don't push your luck. Don't talk. MH. Campfire serenade. The fireworks ended. Ethan let her go, looking satisfied. So sweet. Grace blushed, wiped her mouth vigorously, and glared at him. Damn it, that's enough. Heh, never enough. Ethan grinned wickedly. Grace pinched the soft flesh at his waist. No sneak attacks in the future. Ow, you sneak attack me first. This is giving you a taste of your own medicine, Ethan argued. I'm too lazy to argue. I'm hungry again. Grace pouted. True. According to scientific research, kissing helps cardio function and consumes a lot of energy. Good for weight loss. I think this exercise is necessary to do often, Ethan said with a straight face. Grace's face burned. She rolled her eyes, full of twisted logic. I'm ignoring you. I want fish soup. Heh, I'll go heat it up for you. That's more like it. Your Highness, want another roasted fish? My roasting skills are not bad. Sure. Need help? No, just wait to be fed. Think I'm a pig? Being fed? Forget it. I'll brew you a pot of tea. They split the work. Ethan prepped 2 fish, marinated them for 10 minutes, and roasted them over the fire. Grace brewed tea nearby, occasionally handing him a cup. Sometimes no words were needed. Just a look, a movement, and they understood each other. Perfect chemistry. After brushing the fish with oil 3 times, the aroma filled the air. The skin was crispy, the meat tender. Finally, sprinkled with salt, cumin, and chili powder, the scent went to the next level. Smells so good. Grace watched the fish, mouth watering. Smells good, right? Please call me Roast Master. Not bragging, I could open a chain with this skill. Ethan smiled proudly. Hey, jerk, I realize if I give you some sunshine you beam. Stop talking, is it done? I can't wait. Grace picked up chopsticks, swallowing saliva. Don't be so anxious. Like a wolf or tiger. Please, hurry up, okay? Kiss me once. Hey, Grace, don't grab it. You want that much? Don't worry, I can eat one this long. Ethan rolled his eyes. Can you really finish a fish this long? Really? Don't doubt my appetite. Grace sniffed the roasted fish she just snatched, looking satisfied. This fish was 3 or 4 pounds. Eat then. Slowly, though. Trout has lots of bones. Ethan cared for the gluttonous girl. Okay, I know, Grace replied, casually, and put the fish on a plate to dig in. With the 2 of them attacking the food like a storm, the 2 roasted fish were completely annihilated. Burp, Ethan burped, satisfied. Really good. I am stuffed. Burp, I can't move, either. Grace leaned back in the chair, patting her belly. The 2 slumped in chairs, looking at the starry sky. So many stars tonight. Grace enjoyed the cool night breeze, sighing. They could vaguely see the Milky Way like a waterfall across the sky. The lake reflected the stars, utterly beautiful. Campfire, galaxy, lake, and boyfriend by her side. Everything was perfect. Grace couldn't help smiling sweetly. Yeah, beautiful, Ethan responded. By the way, Gracie, want a rocket pop for digestion? Sure, give me one. Hearing rocket pop, she wouldn't refuse even if stuffed. Ethan ran into the tent and brought out 2 popsicles. 1 each, eating popsicles under the stars. Grace sat in the chair, kicking her legs, occasionally humming a tune, clearly in a good mood. Ethan finished his in a few bites and said mysteriously, Grace, I have another surprise. Jerk, you have a lot of tricks. What is it this time? Grace asked curiously. Hey, forgot. On the way here, I told you I'd give you a solo concert. Wait here. Saying that, Ethan ran to the Audi, opened the trunk, and pulled something from the back. Grace craned her neck. Seeing the shape, she paused. Guitar. Ethan returned to the fire with the guitar, smiling. See? Got the gear ready. You play guitar? I never saw you play before. Grace was stunned. Ethan chuckled. Being a campus top 10, playing guitar was normal. Not amazing, but he knew how. Learned recently. Not hard. Knowing music theory, practice makes perfect. Plus, I'm naturally gifted. Ethan smiled. He opened the bag, took out the guitar, and strummed gently. Beautiful guitar sounds rang out. Grace rested her chin in her hands, asking expectantly, Jerk, what are you singing? Ethan smiled mysteriously. A song you haven't heard. You wrote it? No, a cover. Ethan strummed and sang softly. I forgot how it started. Maybe it was just a feeling for you. Suddenly found myself so deep in love with you. It's really simple. The deep, magnetic voice rang out, hitting Grace's heart instantly. She was stunned. She didn't expect Ethan to sing so well. She rested her chin, slowly falling into his singing. Night breeze cool, song melodious, beautiful vocals echoing over the lake. Song over. Ethan stopped playing and smiled. Like it. It's good. Didn't know you had this move. Grace smiled sweetly. Of course. But it's getting late. Should we turn in? Ethan grinned. Grace blushed. Turn in your head. 30 minutes later. Inside the tent, two people lay straight and stiff. No one spoke. The air was filled with awkwardness, although they defined the relationship. Before piercing the paper, they thought nothing of it. But now it was different. Should they do something? Grace's face was red, heart pounding. Jerk, hey, are you asleep? The fire, jerk, hey, are you asleep? No, you're not asleep either. Can't sleep. Me neither. The tent fell into awkward silence again. Ethan wanted to break the awkwardness and reached out to hold Grace's hand. No, I'm not ready. Can't. Grace reacted like a reflex, speaking hurriedly. Ethan, he didn't plan to do anything. Where's this girl's mind going? To soothe her nerves, Ethan patted her hand gently and smiled. Don't be nervous. Just like usual, I know you're not mentally ready. We'll take it slow. This tension from physical contact in a new relationship was called dating anxiety. It was scientifically backed. Ethan had patience. First and second base achieved. Home run wasn't far. But this couldn't be rushed, or it would make Grace uncomfortable. Grace was comforted and seemed to relax, breathing easier. Sorry. It's okay. I don't mind. Sleep early. They lay quietly in the dark, falling asleep to the insects and birds outside. Next morning, sunlight pierced the tent. Ethan was woken by the glare. He opened his eyes but felt his left side pressed down by something, numb and immobile. Turning his head, he saw Grace curled his arms, one arm and one leg draped over him like a cute kitten. Grace seemed to be having a good dream, grinning foolishly, smacking her lips, nuzzling and sleeping on. This girl. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to control his fifth limb. But Grace's leg rubbed again. Hiss. Grace, don't test my self-control. Ethan sucked in a cold breath. What's wrong? Is it morning? Grace mumbled, long lashes trembling, about to wake. She opened her eyes groggily, rubbing them. Morning, jerk. Morning, Gracie. Ethan laughed dryly. Gracie? Haha. Grace giggled, then stretched. Jerk. Why didn't you remove the stick when pitching the tent? It poked me all night. Grace rolled over, removing her limbs from Ethan. Ethan quickly pulled the blanket up, awkward. Really? Maybe I forgot. Grace sat up and yawned. So sleepy. Didn't sleep well. Camping isn't as comfy as a bed at home. But felt nice too. Jerk, let's wash up and pack out. Okay, you go first. I'll lie here a bit. Ethan waved. Oh. Grace responded and crawled out. Ethan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Finally gone. Otherwise, so awkward. He threw off the blanket, changed clothes, and went out. They poured boiled water from a kettle and brushed their teeth squatting on the ground. After a simple wash, they packed up, took the trash, and drove back. On the way back, Ethan turned to look at the cheerful Grace, who was humming. Why so happy? Is it because you went camping and picked up a boyfriend for free? Ethan teased. You picked up a girlfriend for free too. Aren't you happy? Grace retorted. Happy? Of course I'm happy. Ethan held her hand, fingers interlaced, smiling at each other. By the way, Gracie, when do you plan to tell your parents about us? Ethan asked. I don't know how they'll react. You think? They'll be furious? Grace worried, mind filling with Taiwanese dramas. In those shows, leads always faced family obstruction, going through hardships to be together. Thinking of this, she worried. Probably not. Ethan guessed. Sigh, to be safe, don't tell them yet. Let me sound them out first. Grace mused. Sure, if it's hard for you, I can say it. Ethan doted. He felt it didn't matter. Grace was his girlfriend now. No regrets in this life, nothing to fear. No, let me sound out my parents first, Grace said solemnly. Seeing her serious, brace-for-battle look, Ethan found it cute and funny. Okay, your way. They returned home, parting reluctantly at the door. Grace held Ethan's hand, smiling sweetly. See you at the window later. Ugh, no problem. Mwah. They were being clingy when Mary Ford opened the door, surprised to see them. Grace, son, back so soon? Grace quickly let go of his hand, laughing dryly. Yeah, Aunt Mary, we played enough, so we came back. I'll take my stuff back by Aunt Mary. With that, Grace grabbed her bag and sprinted home. That child, why is she acting weird? Mary sensed something off. Cough, Mom, where are you going? Ethan quickly changed the subject. Market to buy veggies. Making sweet and sour pork tonight. Mary smiled. Ethan's mouth twitched. Mom, That's Grace's favorite, right? Is it? Isn't it yours? Did I remember wrong? Mary shook her head and went downstairs. Ethan facepalmed. Mom really spoils Grace. But that's good. She shouldn't object. Good news. Midnight. Evergreen Avenue Commercial District was empty, except for Higgins Systems, which was still open. At the entrance, Sal Higgins and Gary Holt were drinking. 4 bottles of Baijiu lay on the ground, along with scattered beer bottles. Bert, boss, you gotta think. Think of it WA. We haven't made a sale in a week. Any longer, and we fold. Gary was red-faced, drunk. For the past week, new and old customers saw Westford Electronics across the street and ran over there. Westford had plastered ads all over the street. Everywhere you could stick an ad had their opening promo, offering huge discounts. So since Westford moved in, Higgins Systems hadn't made a single sale. Sal's fat face was red, 80% drunk. Slap. He hit the table, cursing. It's all that kid Ethan's fault. Motherfucker, just specifically coming to fight me. FCK him. I want to kill him sometimes. Sal cursed and took another swig of Baijiu. Most of his cash flow was tied up in stock. Now goods weren't moving, money wasn't coming in, and he was losing money daily on labor and rent. His shrew of a wife spent money like water. If this continued, only money going out and none coming in, he'd fold in less than 3 months. Gary, eyes blurry, slapped the table too. Right, I want to smash their store, burn it. Then we get business. After saying that, Gary slumped on the table, passed out. But that sentence was like a key, unlocking the madness and darkness in Sal's heart. Smash it, burn it. Right. Sal was mostly drunk. Fueled by alcohol, a crazy, evil thought rose in his heart. Liquor emboldens cowards. Even smart people lose reason under alcohol. Yes, burn Westford Electronics. Once the thought appeared, it couldn't be stopped. 10 minutes later, Sal Higgins staggered to the door of Westford Electronics carrying a bottle of gasoline. Burn you. Sal looked crazy, splashing gas on the door. Done. He took out a lighter, lit the paper, and threw it into the gas. Whoosh! Instantly, flames soared. The huge tongue of fire swept through Westford Electronics in seconds. Asonines, 00 a.m. A phone call startled Ethan awake. Ethan grabbed his phone and saw it was Wayne calling. Why was Wayne calling at this hour? Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He answered quickly. Tank, what's wrong? Boss, bad news. I just got a call. Our store on Evergreen Avenue was burned down. What? Ethan bolted upright in bed, expression shocked. 30 minutes later, Ethan and Wayne arrived at Evergreen Avenue. Flames were raging. 2 fire trucks were spraying water, firefighters rushing to extinguish the open fire. FCK. Ethan clenched his fist and cursed. It's over. The store is done. Wayne was dumbfounded. Ethan calmed down quickly. Go, let's help. Control the fire first. Can't let it spread to other stores. Hope the surveillance host wasn't burned. They joined the line. 5 hours later, after 6 a.m., the sky was lightning. Ethan completed the police report procedures and returned to the store entrance, looking at the scorched ruins. Anger rose in his heart, ready to explode. If it were anyone else, they would be wailing and crying. But Ethan knew crying was useless. Only handling this calmly and finding the arsonist to bring them to justice mattered. You're the person in charge here? A middle-aged firefighter walked over with a notebook. Yes, hello. Thank you for your hard work. I'm the owner of Westford Electronics, Ethan Ford. Ethan shook his hand. I'm Captain Carter of the Evergreen Fire Squad. I'll give you a preliminary fire report. According to preliminary investigation, the ignition point was at the entrance. There are traces of gasoline combustion. Preliminary assessment is arson. You can get the specific report at the station later. My personal opinion, definitely arson. Calculate your losses and file a case, Captain Carter advised. Thank you, Captain. Much appreciated. I reported it. I believe the police will investigate soon. Ethan nodded seriously. Captain Carter looked at him with some surprise. He didn't expect this young man to be so calm and know to report to the police first. Others would just be crying in confusion. All right, we're heading back. Call the station if you have questions. Carter left a number and left. Ethan and Wayne walked into the ruins. Scorched earth, mess everywhere. Almost all parts were burned to nothing. Although not a warehouse, the store had many parts and full builds. According to Wayne's files, goods loss alone was $10,000, plus $9,000 in renovation. The fire burned nearly $20,000. A heavy loss. If the arsonist wasn't found, this 20 grand was burned for nothing. Ethan clenched his fist. He wouldn't let the arsonist go. Tank, find the surveillance host. See if it works. Ethan ordered. Ethan had installed cameras in every store, but current security tech wasn't advanced. The host used a digital video recorder DVR core with a digital hard drive. These drives weren't fire-resistant. High heat would damage them. They found the host in the ruins, half-burned. The hard drive was charred black. FCK. Hard drive is fried. Wayne threw the black drive angrily. Ethan picked it up and examined it carefully. Confirmed hopeless. But even broken things have uses. Boss, who is so wicked to burn our store? You think it's Sterling Tech? Wayne asked angrily. Ethan looked grim. Possible, but burning this store doesn't benefit them much. Think about who benefits from this. Wayne paused, thought, and gritted his teeth. Sal Higgins. With this store burned, the only computer store left on the street was Sal's. He had no powerful competitor. From any angle, the beneficiary was Sal Higgins. Ethan nodded coldly. I thought of Sal from the start, but the system is broken. We have no solid evidence. Without evidence, we can't investigate him. And we were the only ones on the street with cameras. Even the intersection has none. Getting evidence isn't easy. Wayne panicked. Then what? If the police find no evidence, do we eat the loss? Just swallow it. Ethan held up the hard drive and shook it. Maybe this still has some use. Boss, isn't it broken? What use is it? Wayne was totally confused. Ethan's eyes revealed a cold look. He said calmly, broken, it's still useful. Put away. Wait until we see Sal Higgins. It was business hours, and the streets were filling with pedestrians. A crowd had gathered on the sidewalks, watching the commotion. The police had set up caution tape around the storefront, and officers were inside collecting evidence. Ethan Ford was currently being questioned. The officer in charge was Detective Zimmer. Mr. Ford, have you offended anyone recently? Zimmer asked, his notepad open. Someone used gasoline to torch your store. It almost spread to the neighboring shops. That's a serious grudge. Another young officer stood by, taking notes. Ethan kept a straight face. I've always done business by the book, officer. I pay every cent of my taxes, and I've never done anything to step on anyone's toes. In business, harmony brings wealth. I really can't think of anyone I've offended. Really? No one at all? Maybe you should think a little harder, Zimmer pressed. It would help the investigation immensely. Without a direction, we don't even have a suspect. Ethan pretended to think deeply, furrowing his brow. He turned his head, glancing at Higgins' computers diagonally across the street. Well, if you force me to say, there might be a little friction with Higgins' computers across the way. My business has been doing well, and that owner is always complaining about it. But like I said, it's the customer's choice. They choose which shop they want to patronize. I run an open business. I can't exactly chase customers away, right? Ethan's words immediately caught Zimmer's attention. He followed Ethan's gaze. The door to Higgins' computers was open, and it seemed to be operating as usual. All right, thanks for your cooperation. We'll go ask around the neighborhood, Zimmer said with a slight nod. Lewis, come with me. The young officer named Lewis nodded. You got it, boss. As the two officers walked away to canvass the area, Wayne Tank Turner walked up to Ethan, lowering his voice. Ethan, why didn't you just tell the cops it was Sal Higgins? He's the obvious suspect. Ethan smiled faintly. Tank, use your head. If I tell the police directly, they'll probably just bring Sal in for a cup of coffee. Knowing Sal's personality, do you think he'd admit to a felony like arson? If Sal denies it to the death, and then gets released because we have no evidence, what happens then? Tank realized the issue. Right. We don't have hard evidence. Honestly, without proof, we can't be 100% sure it was Sal. So what do we do? Ethan looked in the direction of the police officers. Let them go ask routine questions first. It'll make Sal nervous. After the police leave, we'll go over there. And then, Ethan leaned in and whispered a few words into Tank's ear. Tank looked shocked. Ethan, will that actually work? If the arsonist really is Sal Higgins, then it will definitely work, Ethan said with a nod. All right, I'll go get it ready. Tank responded, turning to run off. Inside Higgins' computers, Gary Holt was munching on a bagel, looking excited. I don't know what kind of bad karma that Ethan kid racked up, but someone actually torched his store last night. Boss, I was wasted last night. Did you see the guy who set the fire? Sal Higgins, sitting nearby, felt a knot of tension in his stomach, though he maintained a facade of calm. I was drunk too. Didn't see a thing. After setting the fire the previous night, Sal had sobered up quickly. He felt a mix of regret, nervousness, and fear. To avoid suspicion, he had chosen to open the store as usual today. If he disappeared without reason, the police would definitely target him. Before coming in, he had replayed the night's events in his head, wondering if he'd left any traces. After thinking it through, he decided there was likely no evidence. He should be fine. If I ever meet that guy, I buy him a drink. Right, boss? Gary laughed. Right my ass. Eat your breakfast. Quit yapping. Sal glared at him irritably. Gary shrank back, muttering to himself. Something this good happens, and the boss isn't even happy? Just then, 2 police officers walked into the store. Is the owner in? Detective Zimmer scanned the room, asking calmly. Here. Good morning, officers. I'm the owner, Sal Higgins. Here, have a smoke. Sal put on a friendly face, stepping forward to offer cigarettes. No thanks, we're on duty. We're just canvassing. Zimmer raised a hand to decline. Right. Whatever you need, officer. I'll cooperate fully. Sal beamed, though the hand putting the cigarettes back into the pack was trembling violently. His heart was in his throat. Zimmer cleared his throat. You saw the computer store across the street get burned, right? Noticed anything unusual with that shop lately? I wouldn't know about that. I don't really interact with them, Sal replied quickly. Oh, is that so? Mr. Higgins, where were you when the store was set on fire? Zimmer raised an eyebrow. Ethan had just mentioned that this guy came over to complain frequently. Now, he was claiming no interaction. Professional intuition kicked in. Zimmer was suspicious. We were right here drinking at the store entrance last night. Me and my employee, Gary. We both got completely wasted. My wife had to come pick us up later, Sal lied. Is that right? How late did you drink? Did you see anyone acting suspiciously? Zimmer continued to probe. Sal shook his head. We were too drunk. Couldn't even see the road straight, let alone notice anyone. Gary, still chewing on his bagel, chimed in, Yeah, officer. We were hammered last night. Didn't even have time to clean up. We still got to clean this place up before customers come in. Gary pointed to the pile of beer bottles and trash near the door. Zimmer looked back. Indeed, a pile of bottles and leftover food, clearly from the night before. And Sal did smell faintly of stale alcohol. All right, in that case, we'll continue asking around. We won't keep you from your business. Zimmer turned and left. Watching the police leave, Sal felt the stone in his chest lighten slightly, but his palms were slick with sweat and his legs were shaking uncontrollably. Anyone who committed a crime would inevitably feel guilty and nervous during questioning, but Sal had managed to force himself to appear calm. Once the police disappeared from view, he wiped the sweat from his forehead and let out a long breath. He turned to Gary. Go on, clean that mess up. Gary put down half of his bagel and grunted reluctantly. Sal was just about to get some water to calm his nerves. Sal Higgins, you son of a bitch. I know it was you. Suddenly, Ethan's voice boomed from the doorway. Sal spun around to see Ethan storming in, looking furious. Sal, it was you. You set the fire. Ethan interrogated, his eyes locked on Sal. Sal's eyes darted around, panicked and guilty, but he steeled himself and shouted back, Ford, I'm warning you, don't slander people. I'll sue you for defamation. Having just dealt with the police, facing Ethan's sudden aggression threw him off balance. Ethan took in Sal's expression. He was 80 or 90% sure now. It was definitely this fat bastard. Don't give me that crap, Sal. Who else could it be? Damn it. If you don't pay for my store today, I'm not done with you. Ethan feigned a loss of control, grabbing Sal by the collar. Sal sneered, slapping Ethan's hand away. Ford, do you have evidence? Don't throw your dirty water on me. Who else would it be? Sal, pay for my shop or you'll regret it. Ethan glared at him. Sal smirked, straightening his collar. He scoffed. Evidence? Where's your evidence? If you don't have proof, what are you yelling for? I'm telling you, I didn't do it. Go find whoever you want, just don't make a scene here, or you'll be hearing from my lawyer. He knew that as long as Ethan had no proof, and as long as he denied it to the death, neither Ethan nor the police could touch him. Ethan was about to speak when Tank suddenly sprinted in, shouting excitedly, Ethan, what are you doing here? I found something huge. Ethan turned back. Tank, what is it? Tank handed a DVR hard drive to Ethan, yelling, We found the surveillance system's digital hard drive. Thank God it wasn't burned. It definitely has footage of the arsonist. Sal's face went pale instantly. His head buzzed, the world spinning as if he were falling into an abyss. There was a camera, and the hard drive wasn't destroyed. We're screwed. Sal's face was a mask of terror. He glanced at the soot-blackened hard drive, his palms sweating profusely, his legs trembling uncontrollably. Bad. This was bad. He hadn't realized their shop had surveillance. Thinking back, he vaguely remembered seeing a camera mounted near the entrance when they first opened. If they saw what was on that drive, he was exposed. That would prove he committed arson. Sal's fear mounted, impossible to suppress. Ethan stole a glance at him. Seeing Sal's panicked expression, he laughed coldly inside. Sal, you fat crook, it really was you. Outwardly, however, Ethan feigned excitement. He patted Tank on the shoulder. Good job, Tank. Go back and handle the other stuff. I'll catch up with you in a bit. You got it, Ethan. Here's your bag. Keep an eye on that drive. We gotta hand it to the cops. They'll definitely pull the footage from last night. We'll put that arsonist behind bars. Right? I know. You head back first, Ethan said happily. After Tank left, Ethan shouldered his messenger bag and waved the hard drive in front of Sal's face. Sal, didn't you want evidence? Well, here it is. Get ready for prison. He made a move to put the drive in his bag. Sal frantically grabbed him. Ethan, wait. Wait. You didn't hand this over to the police immediately. You must have other plans, right? Sweat was pouring down Sal's forehead, but he had noticed Ethan's hesitation. Maybe. He wanted money. This thing could absolutely not go to the police. If the cops got it, he was done for. So, without thinking, he grabbed Ethan. Ethan let out a cold laugh. You're smart, Sal. So it was you. But I do have other plans. If the cops take this and throw you in jail, who the hell pays me back? At the end of the day, I'm in business to make money. Sal's heart skipped a beat. If Ethan was talking like this, he was definitely looking for a payoff. Gary, go outside for a minute. I need to talk to Mr. Ford, Sal said, composing himself enough to send Gary away. Okay, sure. Gary put down his broom, shaking his head as he walked out. Once Gary was gone, Sal went to close the glass door. He turned back to Ethan with a grim face. All right, name your price. Ethan sneered. My shop took a $20,000 loss in inventory and damages. On top of that, you owe me for emotional distress. You had your fun with that fire, but damn it, that was a newly renovated store. We just opened. I'm telling you, emotional damages are $50,000. Plus the losses, that's $70,000 total. Not a penny less. If you don't agree, this drive goes straight to the police. Sal's face twisted. $70,000. His expression turned even uglier. 70 grand was not a small sum. This guy Ford was ruthless, but compared to prison time, spending $70,000 to make the problem go away was worth it. Even if it hurt like hell, he had to swallow it. Sal gritted his teeth. Fine. $70,000. I'll pay you. He reached out urgently for the hard drive, but Ethan pulled it back. What's the rush? You haven't paid me yet. Ethan glared. Also, tell me the truth. Did you set fire to my Westford electronics store? Facing Ethan's piercing gaze, Sal knew the leverage was in the other man's hands. He nodded. Yes, I burned your store. But believe me, I didn't mean to go that far. I was drunk last night. Really drunk. And then I lit the fire. Ethan grabbed him by the collar again, glaring furiously. Louder. Tell me, did you burn it? Sal panicked completely. He swallowed hard. Yes, I burned the store. Is that enough? $70,000. I'll pay you. Ethan released him, dusting off his hands with a cold smirk. Sal, you got guts? Burning my store. Tell me, what did you use? Sal looked guiltily toward a bucket in the back. I used that bucket. Filled it with some gas. Ethan turned to look at the white gasoline container hidden in the corner near the door. All right, I've got it all. Sal thought Ethan was done pursuing it and breathed a sigh of relief. Ethan, give me a few days. I'll go raise the money right away. $7,000. No, 70,000. You absolutely cannot give that thing to the police. Ethan chuckled lightly. He slid the hard drive across the counter to Sal. I was never going to give this to the police. Since you like it so much, you can have it. Huh? Sal froze, not understanding what Ethan meant. But then he looked down. On the other side of the hard drive, a large section was charred to a crisp, right where Ethan's hand had been covering it. Bang! Suddenly, Detective Zimmer led a group of officers bursting through the door. Zimmer walked right up to Sal. Two other officers grabbed his arms. Sal Higgins, you're under arrest for arson. Cuff him. Take him away. Two officers quickly slapped the silver bracelets on Sal's wrists. In that moment, Sal finally realized what had happened. He stared wide-eyed at Ethan, roaring in anger. Ford, you tricked me. The hard drive was broken. It had already been destroyed. Sal stared at Ethan with pure rage, but despair was quickly overtaking his heart. He never expected Ethan to bluff him like that. The digital hard drive was already toast. The negotiation was a trap to get him to confess to the arson. Damn it. Damn it all. Facing Sal's fury, Ethan gave a cold laugh. He pulled a cell phone and a small camcorder out of his bag. There was a small hole in the side of his messenger bag, exactly where the camera lens had been positioned. Everything that just happened, including their entire conversation, had been recorded. Sal had personally confessed to his crime. Sal, more than the money, I'd rather see you in prison. Ethan said coldly, handing all the evidence over to Detective Zimmer. Zimmer gave Ethan a look of appreciation as he placed the devices into an evidence bag. Other officers began searching the store. "Take him back to the station," Zimmer ordered with a wave of his hand. "Yes, sir." The officers dragged a pale-faced Sal Higgins to the squad car. Zimmer turned to Ethan with a smile. Mr. Ford, you're something else. That was a solid play." Ethan smiled faintly. "Detective Zimmer, I leave the rest to you. With you upholding justice, criminals are bound to face the law. Don't worry, that's our job. I'll let you know when we have results," Zimmer nodded. Ethan smiled. "Great. By the way, if Sal's family wants to seek an out-of-court settlement for leniency, feel free to have them contact me." An out-of-court settlement, or civil compromise, was just a way to potentially mitigate sentencing. But arson was a major felony, and the direct economic losses Sal caused were severe. He was looking at 3 to 10 years in prison. Even with mitigation, he wouldn't get off lightly. Ethan didn't just want him in jail. He wanted him to pay a massive sum in damages. If Sal just went to jail without paying, Ethan would still be a loss. Cold hard cash was the real victory here. Zimmer looked at him with surprise, thinking this young man's meticulous planning was extraordinary. "Sure, no problem. I'm heading back to process this." Zimmer nodded, shook Ethan's hand, and left. Watching the police car drive away, while officers continued searching the store for clues, Ethan knew this chapter was closed. "Ethan, you're a legend. You bluffed him so hard he exposed himself. That was brilliant." Tank gave a thumbs up. People panic when they commit crimes. Sal is no exception. "By the way, Tank, scout out a new location nearby. We need to reopen the store. Contact the landlord about compensation too. Once Sal's restitution comes through, we'll split some with the landlord, but we should still clear a good amount," Ethan said confidently. Don't worry, Ethan. I'll handle the follow-up," Tank replied. Ethan thought for a moment. "I have to report to the university in 2 days, so you'll have to work hard these next couple of days. I also need to visit Professor Hall tomorrow." "Got it," Tank said. Ethan worked until the afternoon before dragging his exhausted body home. He hadn't slept the night before, and his nerves had been taut all day. The moment he got home, he collapsed onto the sofa and nearly fell asleep instantly. Knock, knock, knock. A knock came at the door. Ethan got up to open it, revealing Grace Miller. "Oh my God, Ethan, did you stay up all night gaming? Look at those dark circles." Grace looked at Ethan in shock. He looked like a panda and was clearly wiped out. Come I'll tell you about it later." Ethan laughed bitterly, dropping his head as he went back to the couch to lie down. Seeing his exhaustion, Grace felt a pang of sympathy. She sat down next to him, lifted his head onto her lap, and gently massaged his temples. "Ethan, what happened?" Grace asked, confused. Ethan gave her a brief rundown of the events. Grace listened, her eyebrows furrowing in anger. "That's Sal Higgins. He's evil. Some people will do anything when they're drunk." Ethan chuckled softly. "But it's fine. He's locked up, and I'll get the compensation later. With that threat removed, I feel a lot more at ease." Grace pouted. "You business people. You have like 100 schemes in your heads." Ethan grinned. "If I didn't have schemes, how would I tame you?" Grace blushed and pinched the soft flesh at his waist. "Tame me? Ethan Ford, I think your skin is itching for a beating." "Ow, Grace, let go," Ethan yelled. Grace released his head, snorting haughtily. "What now, peasant? Planning a rebellion?" Ethan sat up and suddenly pinned her down on the sofa, laughing. "If the tiger doesn't roar, you think I'm Hello Kitty." Saying that, Ethan lowered his head, leaning in close. Grace's face turned apple red. She glanced at him. What are you doing?" Obviously." Ethan flashed a wicked, charming grin. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the door. "Oh, what are you two doing?" Mary Ford saw Ethan pinning Grace to the couch and stood there, dumbfounded. Ethan froze, then scrambled to sit up straight. Cough, cough. "Mom, we were just messing around." "Right, Grace." Grace, face burning red and looking thoroughly humiliated, nodded. Right. Mary put down her grocery basket, hands on her hips, as she glared at Ethan. "Son, are you bullying Grace again?" "Ethan, I was trying to bully her, but you came back." He couldn't exactly say that. He deflected. "No way. Absolutely not." He shot Grace a subtle look. Grace stuck out her pink tongue and made a face at him. "Mrs. Ford, are you making dinner? I'll help you prep the vegetables." Grace stood up and ran over, acting like an angel. "Oh, okay. Grace is such a good girl. I knew I loved you for a reason." Mary beamed, pinching Grace's cheek. "You help me with the veggies, and I'll make you something delicious tonight." Grace nodded, smiling. "Okay, thanks, Mrs. Ford." The two of them were as close as mother and daughter. Ethan laughed helplessly. It was true. Growing up, Grace was beautiful, cute, had good grades, and was obedient. Every parent loved her. "Mom, I'll help too," Ethan shouted toward the kitchen. "Oh." From the kitchen, Mary gave a non-committal response. "Ethan." The difference in treatment was staggering. The two sat at the dining table, snapping green beans. Ethan nudged Grace with his elbow, whispering, "Grace Miller, just you wait. I'll deal with you tonight. If you dare. If you bully me, I'll tattle immediately," Grace whispered back with a laugh. "Grace, you don't fight fair. Do you still want a rocket pop tonight?" Ethan whispered. Hearing rocket pop, Grace's eyes lit up. "E-duh. You buying? I'm your boyfriend. If I don't spoil you, who will?" Ethan grinned. Grace felt warmth spread through her heart. She reached out and pinched Ethan's cheek, smiling. "You really are a good boyfriend. It's a deal then. We'll go buy some after dinner." "No problem." Night 9:00 p.m. Ethan and Grace bought rocket pops and were walking through the neighborhood. He was licking his popsicle while yawning, practically dead on his feet. "Look at you, you're exhausted. Let's rest here for a bit," Grace said concernedly, taking a lick of her popsicle. Okay. I want to lie down," Ethan laughed. They found a bench. Ethan rested his head on her lap, lying down to eat his popsicle. He adjusted his head, finding a very comfortable spot. Grace's legs were soft and springy. It was incredibly comfortable. After a while, he forgot to eat the popsicle. His eyelids felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds. He could barely keep them open. "Ethan? Asleep?" Grace looked down, realizing he was drifting off. Not wanting to wake him, Grace gently took the melting popsicle from his hand. Sure enough, moments later, the sound of Ethan's steady breathing filled the air. He was out. Grace finished her popsicle in a few bites. Looking at the sleeping Ethan, his face showing clear signs of exhaustion, her heart ached for him. She gently stroked his hair, murmuring, "Ethan, always working yourself so hard. I wish I could help you, share some of the pressure." Ethan seemed to hear her voice. He shifted his head, his hands resting on her legs as he continued to sleep. Grace looked at him, clinging like a baby kangaroo, and couldn't help but smile. "You know, sometimes you're actually kind of cute." Grace waited until Ethan was in a deeper sleep before gently holding his head and adjusting him on the bench. She crouched down, examining his sleeping face. "If I sneak a kiss, he probably won't notice, right?" The thought suddenly popped into Grace's mind. She remembered the last time. That was so embarrassing. But now he was asleep. Wasn't this the perfect opportunity? Her face flushed red, but she gathered her courage and slowly leaned in. Just as their faces were inches apart, close enough to feel each other's hot breath. Suddenly, Ethan opened his eyes. For a moment, their eyes met. The atmosphere froze instantly. Then, Ethan obediently closed his eyes and puckered his lips. "I'm not awake yet." "Continue." Grace. "You're clearly awake. You jerk." But as soon as the words left her mouth, Ethan suddenly propped himself up, lifted his head, and kissed her. "MMPH." Grace's eyes went wide. Her face turned red all the way to her neck, her heart pounding violently against her ribs. It took a long moment for Grace to react, pulling back and breaking the kiss. "Bad guy. You dare to sneak attack me. Despicable." Grace wiped her lips shyly, making a claw hand like she was going to attack him. Ethan dodged away instantly, sprinting toward his building, turning back to make a face as he ran. Naya, come bite me." Ethan forward freeze. The sound of their playful laughter echoed through the neighborhood. The next day at noon, Ethan took a taxi to Professor Hall's house, carrying 2 bottles of Macallan 18. He had already called ahead, arranging to have lunch together. Ethan knocked on the door. A moment later, it opened. A girl wearing a studded leather jacket, with her hair in a high ponytail, stood in the doorway. She looked about 18 or 19, wearing awkward, smoky makeup and carrying a rebellious air. She gave off the vibe of a street delinquent. Ethan sized her up, and she sized him up right back. "Who are you? Who do you want?" the girl asked impatiently, frowning. I'm Ethan Forth. I'm here to see Professor Hall. You must be the professor's daughter." Ethan put on a friendly smile. This girl had to be Hall's daughter, Haley Hall. Ethan had heard Hall mention her before. A child born later in his life, spoiled rotten as a kid, but grew up to be quite a handful. Haley gave an "oh," then turned her head back. "Dad, someone's here for you." "Haha, must be Ethan." Professor Hall came out of the study, walking quickly to the door. Ethan stepped inside, smiling. "Good afternoon, Professor. Here I am to mooch a meal off you again." Hall patted his shoulder, laughing. "Kid, what are you saying? You're treating me like a stranger." "Hey, Professor, I didn't come empty-handed. Take these 2 bottles. We can drink them later if you want." Ethan handed over the scotch. 2 bottles of Macallan 18. Expensive, high-status liquor. You kid. You come over. Why bring gifts? No way. These 2. We're killing one today. We need to have a few drinks. Hall laughed. He ushered Ethan inside, introducing him. You've been here a few times, but haven't met her. This is my daughter, Haley. This girl runs wild outside all day, hardly ever home. Haley heard her father criticizing her in front of a stranger, and her face fell immediately. She was not happy. Dad, what do you mean wild? I just got to play for a bit. You're a teacher. Watch your diction. Haley retorted. Hall looked like he wanted to scold her for talking back. Ethan quickly changed the subject. I guess she was your daughter immediately. I saw her brow and eyes. She looks a bit like Mrs. Hall, but that forehead is all you, Professor. She's very striking. The power of genetics is strong. Ethan's flattery made Hall beam. You give her too much credit, Ethan. This girl, studying? Can't do it. Piano? Can't do it. But she's an expert at playing around. If she had half your maturity, my hair wouldn't have turned white so fast. Ethan laughed. In this day and age, knowing how to play is a skill too. I think Haley will definitely make something of herself. Hall shook his head, smiling. You, always knowing just what to say. Sit down and rest. Your Mrs. Hall is already cooking. We can eat soon. Sure. Here, Professor, have a smoke. Seeing an ashtray with butts in the living room, Ethan pulled out a pack of Parliaments and offered one to Hall. Hall took the cigarette, sitting down and lighting it. Ethan, how's business at the store? Ethan lit one too. Not bad. Everything is going according to plan. We've opened 6 branches in Chicago now. The offline repair business is doing well. I estimate in 2 months we can expand to 20 chain stores. With a 3-mile radius, we can cover most of the city. Once the operating model matures and we have brand recognition, I'll consider expanding to other cities nationwide. Hall was shocked. He hadn't expected Ethan to move so fast. Westford Electronics was growing far beyond expectations. This young man was truly built for business. A genius monster. Seems like your development strategy is very clear. You have goals. That's good. 6 chain stores already. Unexpected. Hall praised. Yeah, but after yesterday, it's only 5. Ethan shrugged helplessly. Oh, what happened? Hall asked, puzzled. Ethan briefly recounted Sal Higgins' arson. Hall listened intently, then sighed with emotion. Sal Higgins, unreliable as always. He fell into your hands now. He deserved it. Even saying that, Hall felt this was the result of Ethan pressing step by step. With Westford Electronics model, no single computer store in the city could compete. The advantages of scale and systematization, lowered costs, increased efficiency, weren't things a solo shop could match. This was the victory of a business model. Even if Sal hadn't taken a risk, being squeezed out by Ethan was inevitable. Ethan, so what do you plan to do next? Hall knew Ethan must have a reason for coming. Every visit involved business. He wasn't just here to eat and drink. Ethan thought for a moment. Professor, last time I heard you mention you have a student working at a computer parts distributor company? Something called TechSource. Hall paused, unsure why Ethan brought this up. Yes, that's right. TechSource. They secured exclusive provincial distribution rights for quite a few manufacturers. Many dealers in the state, including Chicago, get their stock from them. They are the designated sole distributor. You have to go through them. Why? Interested in that company? Hall asked. Ethan smiled faintly, nodding. He took a drag of his cigarette, but didn't rush to speak. With the expansion of the parts business and the online mall, his stock volume would be huge. If he kept getting goods from Southbridge traders and other Tier 1 or Tier 2 distributors, there would always be a layer or 2 of markup. Over the long term, that didn't fit Westford Electronics' interests. A portion of his cost was essentially the supplier's profit. So, after some consideration, Ethan felt that as demand increased, he might as well bypass those suppliers and work directly with the state distributor. The cost would be significantly lower. After a moment, Ethan said, I am interested. If there's a chance, I'd like to ask you to make an introduction, Professor. Another friend is another path, right? Hall thought for a moment and guessed his intentions. He smiled. No problem. Ethan, you really have big ideas. Hearing Professor Hall agree, Ethan beamed. Then let me thank you in advance, Professor. Hey, no need for that. It's a small thing. Hall waved his hand, laughing. By the way, the tea Mrs. Hall sells is really good. I bought some a couple of days ago for the office, and everyone says it's delicious. Ethan smiled, his eyes crinkling. Hall's share of the profits was with his wife. Ethan bought tea every month, and the profit margin in that transaction was essentially Hall's dividend. Ethan was hinting that the monthly dividend would arrive on schedule. Hall understood, nodding with a smile. If you like it, I'll have her send you a few extra tins later. Drinking tea is good for your health. Huh. Thanks a lot then, Professor. Ethan laughed heartily. Elena Hall came out of the kitchen with a dish. Old man, Ethan, Haley, come eat. Dinner's ready. All right, Mrs. Hall, you've worked hard. So many dishes, looks and smells amazing. Ethan stood up, scanning the spread. Chicken, duck, fish, everything was there. Oh, it's no trouble. We're happy to have you over, Ethan. Elena smiled. Hall also stood up to usher Ethan to the table. Everyone took their seats. Ethan personally opened the scotch and poured for Hall. The two drank and chatted happily. Hey, Haley, you should learn from Ethan. Ask him about his studies. He's the state top scorer for the SATs this year. Elena admonishedly. Haley looked at Ethan with surprise. She hadn't expected him to be that capable, but she pouted anyway. So what if he's the top scorer? I'll handle my own studies. Hall frowned, scolding her. Why are you like this? Do you have no manners? We tell you to learn from Ethan because we want your grades to improve so you don't fail out of college. With your barely passing grades, if you don't work hard, you won't even get a diploma. Haley put down her chopsticks, retorting, if my grades are bad, that's my problem. You don't need to worry about it. Hall was so angry he stuttered. Ethan could see it clearly. This girl was in her rebellious phase, and her relationship with her parents was tense. They probably fought often. Truly, every family has its own difficulties. But he didn't want his visit to cause a family dispute, so he changed the subject. Hey, Professor, don't be angry. I think Haley seems quite bright. I noticed posters for Red Alert and StarCraft on the wall. Does Haley like PC games? Huh, you're a nerd, and you know Red Alert and StarCraft? Yeah, those are my favorites. Mentioning games, Haley instantly lit up. Hall frowned. All you know is games, either playing at home or at the internet cafe. If you put that mind to your studies, you'd be at Harvard or MIT by now. Haley, criticized again, pouted and fell silent, a silent protest. Ethan laughed. If she likes computer games that much, digging into them could be great. Developing her own game in the future would be a pretty good career. Huh, right? I want to develop my own game to play. I recently made a StarCraft hack. Crushing the AI with cheats is awesome. Haley said, brows dancing with excitement. Develop? You know C++. Ethan asked, surprised. A little. Self-taught, Haley said with a look of pride. Hall was stunned. You learned C++ just to play games? My goddaughter, I didn't know you had that skill. He was pleasantly surprised. He rarely communicated with his daughter and didn't expect her to have a talent for programming. C++ was a complex language usually learned in college. Dad, there's a lot you don't know. When do you ever ask me? Haley pouted, feeling aggrieved. Hall felt a twinge of guilt. Indeed, focusing only on her grades, he had lacked communication. Ethan saw the opening and smiled. I said Haley was special. She'll definitely go places. Haley received validation and praise, and a trace of shyness actually appeared on her face. She smiled happily. Haley, later I'll send you a game development document. If you can build a game framework according to the file, come work part-time in my company. You can earn your own tuition and living expenses. Saying this in front of Hall showed his sincerity. Later, when Hall did things for him, he would be more committed. Their relationship would be closer than just business partners. Ethan, does she have the skill to develop a game? Hall was skeptical. His daughter had only just started. Developing a game should be difficult. Hey, Professor, you won't know if she doesn't try. Consider a chance for Haley to show what she can do. As long as she wants to do it, she can. Ethan encouraged. Really? I could develop a game framework with your file? Haley asked excitedly. Really? Are you willing to do it? Ethan asked with a smile. Of course. Of course. I'll do it, Haley exclaimed. This was a great learning opportunity. If she could really follow his method, maybe she could understand the development process. She loved games and desperately wanted to make her own. She had learned skills, even art design, but her knowledge was scattered. She needed clear direction. Seeing his daughter so interested in games and Ethan willing to teach and provide a job, Hall was incredibly grateful to Ethan. He owed Ethan a big favor now. He raised his glass. Ethan, that's really too kind of you. Come, let me toast you. Hey, Professor, you're too polite. Being able to help is my honor. Besides, my company will definitely develop a gaming business in the future. As computers become more common, PC gaming will be a massive blue ocean market. Ethan laughed. Hall was stunned. He didn't expect Ethan to have such foresight and depth of thought. He admired him even more. Dealing with such a young man was truly his good fortune. Good. Come, let's drink. Hall poured for Ethan and raised his glass again. Haley adjusted her studded leather jacket and raised her juice boldly. Ethan, I'll toast you too. In her heart, she felt she had finally met someone who understood her. She had a positive impression of Ethan now. Everyone toasted, the atmosphere lively. Under Ethan's witty conversation, the meal proceeded without any more arguments between father and daughter. Instead, laughter filled the air harmoniously. After the meal, Ethan didn't overstay his welcome. Hall personally walked him downstairs. Ethan, honestly, I really have to thank you today, Hall said with emotion. It felt like ages since he'd had a nice meal with his daughter like this. He had been a teacher for so many years, taught for so long, yet couldn't teach his own daughter. He felt he had neglected her. Through this, he realized some things. Proper communication and encouragement were very useful in getting along with her. Ethan knew what he was thanking him for and smiled. All right, no need for thanks, Professor. I'm heading back. You go up and rest. Sorry to intrude today. If you say that, I'll be unhappy. In the future, come often. I couldn't be happier. Hall feigned anger with a smile. Right. I'll definitely visit another day. Goodbye, Professor. Hey, be safe on the road. Hall watched Ethan's retreating back, his heart filled with emotion. Such a mature, intelligent young man who understood the ways of the world. He was bound for greatness. Who wouldn't love a young man like that? If only he were his son-in-law. How good would that be? But, obviously, that girl Haley wasn't good enough for him. Sigh. He wondered if Ethan had a girlfriend. If not, maybe there was still a chance. The next morning, the sunlight was faint, slanting through the bedroom window. On the bed, Ethan was still fast asleep. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, a sound came from the window. Ethan, wake up for school. Time to report to college. Outside the window, Grace's crisp, melodious voice rang out. Ethan opened his eyes, rubbing the sleep from them, and smiled. The Graceburn alarm clock had gone off right on time again. He got up, put on some clothes, and opened the curtains just in time to see Grace retracting a telescoping laundry pole, which she used to knock. Good morning, Grace. Ethan leaned one hand on the windowsill, smiling as he greeted her. Grace was wearing cute pink pajamas, her long, dark hair cascading down. Her exquisite features were devoid of makeup, skin like ice and bone like jade. Even completely barefaced, she could crush the looks of any celebrity. Ethan, just call me by my full name. Hearing Grace like that gives me goosebumps. Grace rubbed her arms, looking disgusted. Okay, whatever you like. By the way, did you finish packing last night? Ethan asked. Packed ages ago. You think I'm you? What about you? Grace asked. Me. I drank a bit too much yesterday. Haven't packed yet. But it's fine, I don't have much stuff. Just one suitcase. Ethan replied. Why drink so much all the time? Forget it. I'll come over and help you pack. Grace smoothed her hair, rolling her eyes at him. Ethan grinned. Great. Come over. I'll treat you to breakfast later. 10 minutes later, Grace walked in pulling her suitcase. Mary Ford was making breakfast in the kitchen. Hearing the noise, she looked out. Grace, up so early? I made breakfast. Eat with Ethan before you go to report. No trouble, Mrs. Ford. We'll eat out later. I'm going to help young Master Ford pack his luggage. This guy didn't pack last night. Grace said sweetly. Saying that, Grace hauled her suitcase toward Ethan's room. Mary smiled a knowing Annie smile. These two kids. Why is Grace suddenly so good to my son? Inside the room, Ethan had finished washing up and changed into new clothes, a white shirt and slacks. He looked much more mature, shedding the awkwardness of a high schooler. At the door, Grace poked her head in, eyes smiling. Ethan, I'm here. Her eyes curved into crescents, incredibly cute. Grace, perfect timing. Help me organize my clothes. Ethan smiled, pulling out his suitcase. If you just know how to order me around. No way. In addition to breakfast, add a rocket pop. Grace pouted, walking into the room. Okay. As many as you want. Ethan laughed. Grace started helping Ethan choose clothes, folding them neatly and placing them in the suitcase. This shirt is a bit old. It won't look good out. We need to buy new clothes in a couple of days. Hey, these pants have a hole, and you're bringing them? Don't bring them. How did you not know there was a stain on this collar? Eating sloppily, Grace chattered nonstop while organizing. Ethan listened to her nagging from the side, but his heart felt sweet. All right, once we finish registration and get settled, we'll go buy clothes. I'll buy you a few outfits too, Ethan said dotingly. Me? I have enough clothes. Why buy more? Grace shook her head. Ethan leaned in, whispering. Hey, housekeeper, saving me money already? Don't worry, your boyfriend is worth millions. I have money for clothes. Grace blushed, glancing at him shyly. Who is your housekeeper? Always pushing your luck. So, what does that mean you don't want them? No way, I want them. There you go. Didn't you say you wanted to dress pretty for college? You understand women's fashion? I don't understand women's fashion. but I know what looks best on you. Trust your boyfriend's taste. Fine, buy them for me then. I'll buy you men's clothes. You have to trust your girlfriend's taste too. As they whispered, Mary walked past the door. Seeing them so close, she smiled. Grace, son, wait a moment. I'll get you a red envelope. For good luck at college. Thanks, Mrs. Ford, Grace called back. Ethan laughed. Mom, don't worry. We'll take care of each other at Illinois Tech. You don't need to. It's good luck to have a red envelope. Mary went to her room. A moment later, she came out with 2 red envelopes, giving one to Grace and one to Ethan. You're grown up now, living at school, away from home. Be careful with everything, okay? Mary advised reluctantly. Since childhood, they came home every day after school. She could see them. Now, they were going to college, living in dorms. She felt a bit reluctant to let go. Ethan hugged his mother gently, comforting her. Mom, we'll come back whenever we're free on weekends. Don't worry too much. Okay. I know you're successful. Take care of Grace. Mary's eyes grew wet, but not wanting Ethan to see, she turned and left the room. Ethan's nose tingled. He smiled. My mom worries about us constantly. Yeah, at college, don't cause trouble. Don't make Mrs. Ford worry. Grace said seriously. Where would I cause trouble? As long as people don't mess with me, I won't mess with them. If they mess with me, I'll wipe out their whole clan. Ethan chuckled. Grace rolled her eyes. Cut it out. Behave at school. Hurry up and pack. I am starving. Ethan grinned. Okay. Packing fast. They finished packing and went downstairs. Ethan brought the Audi A6 around and loaded the luggage into the trunk. Done. Get in. Let's go. Ethan clapped his hands. All right, Ethan, off to college we go. Grace shouted excitedly. Ethan exhaled heavily, thinking to himself, college, here I come. The morning sun was brilliant. The entrance to the Illinois Institute of Technology was teeming with people. It was freshman registration day. The gates were crowded with students dragging suitcases or carrying duffel bags. Everyone's face beamed with youthful smiles, full of expectation for the college life about to begin. Many upperclassmen wearing student union vests were welcoming people at the gate, guiding freshmen to registration and helping with luggage. They were very enthusiastic. But on the left side of the gate, there were 2 tables. 2 teachers and 5 students were holding signs. The signs read, Welcome Ethan Ford to Illinois Tech. A sophomore from the student union looked at the sign and whispered to a junior, Will, who is this Ethan Ford? Why is Mr. Stone from the CS department out here personally to welcome him? You don't know? Didn't you read the paper? That's the state top scorer for the SATs this year. Well, Quentin, the junior, rolled his eyes at him. Huh? The top scorer? Why would he come to Illinois Tech? Shouldn't he be at Harvard, MIT, or Stanford? Why our school? The sophomore asked in shock. Will shook his head. I don't know. I heard he rejected Harvard and MIT, and all the Ivy League invites. They even offered full scholarships. He turned them down and picked Illinois Tech specifically. When our admissions office heard that, they went to his house personally. Came back smiling ear to ear. I heard the school gave him a full 4-year scholarship plus free tuition. That's why Mr. Hill from admissions and Mr. Stone are here to welcome him. The sophomore was stunned. Holy crap, a genius who rejected the Ivies. No wonder the school cares so much. Their whispering was overheard by Mr. Hill sitting in front. Cough. What are you muttering about? When you see Ethan Ford later, be enthusiastic. Take him to handle the paperwork. Well, Quentin smiled immediately. Yes, Mr. Hill, don't worry. We will absolutely show the excellent spirit of Illinois Tech to welcome Junior Ford. Next to him, Mr. Stone from the computer science department checked his watch. Almost time, right? Why isn't he here yet? He had yellowish skin, thick glasses, and the look of a refined scholar. He was the head teacher for CS Class 1 and an associate professor. Should be soon. If he's late, I'll call him. It's the first day. Traffic might be bad, Mr. Hill smiled patiently. Just then, an Audi A6 drove down the main road. Among the sea of Tauruses, Civics, and older sedans, this luxury car was very conspicuous. The appearance of the Audi A6 immediately drew the attention of many students, who quickly cleared a path. Whoa, is that an Audi? Which big shot is here? Probably some city official's kid coming to school. TSK, luxury cars are beautiful. That body, those rims. It's art. Mr. Hill saw the car too. He quickly stood up, pushed up his glasses, and tried to see if a VIP was visiting. This model was often an executive car, and the people inside usually had high rank. The car moved slowly, then suddenly turned toward the left side of the school, right toward them. A moment later, the car stopped in front of their station. Mr. Hill walked up with a big smile, waiting by the window. The window rolled down slowly. In the driver's seat was a clean-cut young man. Mr. Hill froze, stunned, before his face lit up with surprise. It's Ethan Ford. Haha. Welcome, Ethan. Good morning, Mr. Hill. So sorry. Traffic was a bit backed up. Sorry to make you come out to meet me. Ethan laughed warmly as he turned off the ignition and got out of the car. Hey, no trouble. No trouble at all. Huh, Mr. Hill laughed loudly. Having recruited the state top scorer, he had received recognition from the school leadership and a hefty bonus. Why would he find it troublesome? He had been worried Ethan might change his mind at the last minute. At this moment, Grace stepped out from the passenger side. Her appearance instantly stunned the crowd. She wore a blue and white dress, her long black hair flowing. Her exquisite face and snow-white skin seemed to glow in the sunlight, commanding attention. Oh my God, what a beautiful girl. Will Quentin stood agape, muttering to himself. That's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. The sophomore next to him stared in a trance. For a moment, Grace became the focal point of everyone's gaze. Ethan, I'm going to report to the architecture department. Take care of yourself. Grace smiled faintly. Okay, be safe. Call me if you need anything. Ethan smiled back. Got it. Grace stuck out her pink tongue, grabbed her luggage from the trunk, and went off to report on her own. Ethan grabbed a suitcase and a backpack, placed them on the passenger seat, then turned to Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill, is there a place to park nearby? Yes, you can park in any of the white lines over there, Mr. Hill recovered and replied. But he couldn't help asking, Ethan, is this your car? Yeah, bought it new, Ethan said casually, then got back in to restart the car. Mr. Hill gulped, shocked. My God, Ethan Ford is driving a luxury car at his age. Comparing people really makes you die of envy. He worked his whole life, and his salary might not even buy this car. The student union students behind him were dumbfounded. Holy crap, is this Ethan guy a super rich second generation? I admit, envy makes me ugly. He drive a luxury car, brings a beauty. What about us? Cough. We can dream about it during our nap later. A moment later, Ethan parked the car, grabbed his suitcase and backpack, and walked over. Will Quentin, wanting to show enthusiasm to the new junior, trotted forward to take Ethan's suitcase. Hey, Junior Ford, let me get that for you. Thanks, Senior. Ethan nodded with a smile. Walking up to Mr. Hill again, he asked, Mr. Hill, do I go register now? Mr. Hill waved his hand, smiling. Hey, no ruse. I'll take you personally in a bit. I can show you our beautiful campus environment. By the way, let me introduce you. This is Mr. Stone from the computer science department. He'll be your homeroom teacher. Mr. Stone stepped forward warmly. Welcome to our school, Ethan. You're the first state top scorer we've ever recruited. Hello, Mr. Stone. You're too kind. I was just lucky, Ethan said humbly. Come, let's go in together. We'll get your enrollment paperwork done first. Mr. Hill smiled. All right. Sorry to trouble you two teachers and the senior. Ethan nodded. Mr. Stone felt a growing appreciation for Ethan. So outstanding, yet so humble and cautious. This young man was impressive. On the other side, Grace was trying to find the architecture design major registration booth, but there were too many people. She couldn't find it immediately. Standing near the entrance, she attracted the eyes of every passing male student. Two guys were so distracted looking at her, they crashed right into each other. Someone even took out a camera to sneak a photo. Suddenly, two student union seniors trotted over. They spoke in unison, almost simultaneously asking warmly, Hello, Junior. Need some help? One had side-swept bangs, the other a middle part, the trendy hairstyles for young men of the era. Senior, I want to report to architecture design. How do I get there? Grace asked, confused. The one with the side-swept bangs spoke urgently. I know. Junior, come with me. I'll take you. Let me carry your luggage. Hehe, I'm Zach Shore. You can call me Zach. Zach actively and enthusiastically grabbed Grace's luggage, looking friendly, but his eyes never left Grace. What a beautiful junior. No doubt, she's definitely the new campus queen of Illinois Tech. The middle part guy next to him was a step too slow. He didn't get the luggage and could only grit his teeth and glare at Zach, who pretended not to see. Then I'll trouble you, Zach. Grace smiled slightly. That smile was devastatingly beautiful. The surrounding students were stunned into silence. At the same time, posts with Grace's photo began popping up on the school forum. These picture threads went viral instantly. Breaking news. New campus queen sighted. Pics included. Shocking. A freshman with goddess-level looks. A new queen is born. See the pics. Godly looks on a freshman. God grant that she doesn't have a boyfriend yet. Ethan, enrollment is all done. If you run into any issues at school, just call my cell, mister, Hill said with a friendly smile. Okay, thank you for your hard work today, Mr. Hill. I definitely have to treat you to dinner sometime to thank you properly, Ethan said gratefully. Maintaining a good relationship with Mr. Hill would make things much easier at school. Haha, you're too polite. All right, whenever you're free, Mr. Hill laughed heartily, admiring Ethan more and more. Ethan's way of speaking and acting was very comfortable. All right, go check out your dorm. It's in the newly built dorm building. I specifically applied for it for you. Ethan nodded. Okay, thanks a lot, teacher. I'll head up then. After saying goodbye to Mr. Hill, Ethan dragged his suitcase upstairs alone, heading to his room, 602. Arriving at the door of 602 on the 6th floor, before he even entered, Ethan heard playful noises from inside. Please, be normal, okay? I'm stating for the record, I'm straight. How are we not normal? Hey, settle down. Don't scare the new guy. Ethan knocked, then pushed the door open. There were 3 people inside, a round, chubby guy, a somewhat handsome guy with a middle-part hairstyle, and a thin young man with glasses, dark skin, and yellowing clothes. Ethan scanned the room and suddenly realized the middle-part guy was an acquaintance. He was surprised. The middle-part guy froze when he saw Ethan. Holy crap, it's you, brother Ethan? Jason. The two stared at each other, stunned. Yes, this handsome guy was Jason York, whom he had met fixing computers at Sal's shop. The first money Ethan made fixing computers came from Jason. To meet here again, and as roommates? The world was truly small. Holy crap, bro, it really is you. What a coincidence. Jason ran excitedly up to Ethan. Ethan smiled. Yeah, really a coincidence. Fate brought us together as roommates. Huh, means we were meant to be bros. Say, since we're dorm brothers now, you won't charge me for fixing my computer anymore, right? Jason draped an arm around his shoulder familiarly, joking. Hey, easy. We're all family now, Ethan grinned. The chubby guy looked at them, amazed. Holy crap, you guys know each other? Of course. Speaking of which, it's destiny. Jason roughly explained the story. Hearing that Ethan could fix computers and was skilled at it, the chubby guy looked at him with worship. He stepped up to shake Ethan's hand. Ethan, bro, you gotta teach me that skill later. By the way, I'm Kevin O'Connor. Call me Keg. Ethan looked at his slightly lecherous but sincere face and laughed. Sure thing, sure thing. At this point, the young man with glasses sitting on the bed walked over, standing somewhat timidly before Ethan. Hello, Ethan. I'm Sam Taker. Hello, Sam. Ethan actively shook his hand, smiling kindly. Ethan noted his dark skin, the yellowing, worn clothes, and the thick, peeling glasses. He seemed like a scholar from the countryside. However, he appeared introverted, suffering from low self-esteem, not good at dealing with people. Ethan had no prejudice against people from rural backgrounds. In fact, he felt closer to them, having come from a rural background himself. He believed everyone had their own shining points. There was no need to let background divide them. Sam looked at Ethan, felt his kindness, and finally revealed a relieved smile. Jason hooked his arms around both of them. All right, our dorm 4 are finally assembled. I propose we go grab a meal together, drink a little wine. What do you say? The 4 of them would be together for 4 years. Harmony was essential. Sure, no problem. For this first meal, how about we go Dutch? Find a small place, $5 or $6 each should be enough. Ethan smiled, shooting Jason a look. Neither of them lacked money for a meal, but they had to consider the self-esteem of the others. Splitting the bill was most appropriate, but the price shouldn't be too high. That would cover everyone, about $10 to $15 tops. This was looking out for Sam, who clearly had financial constraints. Jason caught Ethan's signal, looked at Sam, and realized. He laughed. No problem. I heard there's a good Cantonese place nearby. Cheap and authentic. Let's go there. Sam relaxed visibly, letting out a breath. I'm okay with that. Kevin cheered. What are we waiting for? Let's go. The 4 cleaned up quickly and rushed out the side gate. Next to the gate was a food street shared with a neighboring finance university. Students from both schools loved to hang out there. Especially now during freshman enrollment, there were groups of new students everywhere looking for food. They found a Cantonese diner, ordered 4 dishes and a case of beer. Look quickly. 7 o'clock direction. Short-haired beauty. Can't see the face, but just looking at the figure, she's got to be stunning. Jason whispered to the others, eyebrows dancing. Ethan glanced over and chuckled softly. Could be a butter face, great body, but her face. Ethan, are you questioning my aesthetic eye? Jason sat up straight, adjusting his clothes seriously. No, I just think the probability of a butterface is high. Ethan laughed. Jason smiled confidently. 32, 24, 32. A young woman with those measurements. How bad can her face be? Holy crap. Jason, you can eyeball the measurements? Wait, you haven't seen the front. How do you know the first number is 32? Kevin asked, stunned. Jason gave a lecherous laugh. Practice makes perfect. From 2 numbers and her age, I can deduce the third. Holy crap, impressive. Kevin gave a thumbs up. Don't listen to him. He's guessing. Ethan laughed. Jason said solemnly, What? Ethan, still doubting the eyes of the white dragon of the waves. That I don't bet. I bet tomorrow's breakfast. I bet that girl is definitely a beauty. Okay, you said it. I didn't force you. Kevin and Sam are witnesses. Ethan narrowed his eyes, looking smug, as if victory was already in hand. Jason stood up, flipping his middle part hair, looking narcissistic. Watch me work. Maybe I'll even harvest an unexpected romance and ride off into the sunset. Giddy up. He slapped his butt and walked confidently toward the girl in the pink dress with short hair. He walked up behind her, using a deep, magnetic voice. Excuse me, beautiful. I have a question I'd like to ask you. What is it? The short-haired woman turned around, asking shyly. Hiss. Jason sucked in a cold breath instantly. He was stunned. He saw a face like the surface of the moon, and nose hair was growing out of her nostrils. Never mind. Sorry to bother you. Bye. Jason didn't dare look at that face again. He turned and ran, fleeing back to the table in a panic. Haha. Jason, how is it? Scared to death. Kevin gloated. How can this be? There really are butterfaces in this world. And top-tier ones. Jason grabbed his hair, looking deeply struck. Wait, Ethan, how are you so sure she was a butterface? Jason suddenly looked at Ethan with surprise, wondering how he spotted it. Ethan signaled with his eyes. Jason followed his gaze. Inside the shop was a glass liquor cabinet. The glass reflected the beauty's front perfectly. Jason. Holy crap. Ethan, you set me up. Ethan shrugged, smiling wickedly. You proposed the bet yourself. I didn't force you. Ask Sam. Sam and Kevin nodded in unison. Fine. I admit defeat. Tomorrow's dorm breakfast is on me. Jason waved his hand, acting generous. Ethan laughed. Jason is the man. With Jason's wealth, breakfast was nothing. It was just a chance to bond. Food and wine arrived. With Ethan and Jason there, the atmosphere was lively. After filling their stomachs a bit, they started drinking and toasting, very boisterous. Over the meal, Ethan got a rough idea of his roommates' backgrounds. The flighty, skirt-chasing Jason York, a.k.a. White Dragon, came from a family that owned a road construction company. They had big government contracts and were wealthy. Though flighty, he was talented at studying and got into Illinois Tech on his own merit. The wretched-looking fatty, Kevin Keg O'Connor, was from a civil servant family. His grandfather was retired, parents in education. Despite his looks, he had a strong sense of justice and had once saved a child from a fire, earning a Hero Citizen Award. As for the quiet gourd, the introverted Sam Tucker, he was from a remote mountain village in the West. Poor background, parents were farmers. He was the only college student from his entire village. To celebrate his acceptance, the village slaughtered 2 pigs and held a banquet. Knowing his family was struggling, the villagers chipped in to pay his tuition. He wanted to study hard, succeed, make money, and repay the villagers. That was his only wish. Ethan looked at these 3 roommates with different personalities but harmonious chemistry. He sighed inwardly. To meet and gather in the vast sea of people, to spend 4 years of college together. Wasn't this fate? Usually, such fate is what is worth cherishing and remembering. Just as we miss our youth, we are really missing the people and events of that time. After lunch, the 4 returned to the dorm. Jason couldn't wait to haul his bulky desktop computer out of his box. Brothers, fed and watered. Let's play some games. LAN Party StarCraft. Jason said excitedly. You guys play. I have to take care of some things. Ethan pulled a laptop out of his backpack. Kevin took one look, and his eyes went straight. Holy crap, Ethan, you have an IBM ThinkPad T20. That thing is expensive. How much did you pay? Over $13,000. This kind of business laptop is good for work, not for gaming. Ethan smiled. This laptop was the pioneer of the T-series, titanium alloy body, only 2. Kage. Although it only had 512 megabytes memory and a 12 gigabytes hard drive, it was top-tier performance for the time. Holy crap, Ethan, your family is pretty loaded too. Kevin said enviously. Jason also looked envious. That laptop is nice. Too bad my dad saw I had a desktop and wouldn't buy me one. Ethan glanced at him, laughing. Jason, couldn't you buy one with just a bit of your monthly allowance? Jason twitched his mouth, helpless. You think my dad is that generous? You wish. He said apart from the fixed monthly allowance, no more money. If I want to spend, I have to earn it. Kevin asked curiously. My dad only gives me $50 a month. How much does yours give? Very little. Just $700, Jason said, posturing hard. Kevin, Sam, hurry up and play cards. Kevin hugged him, shouting, Fine, let's play. Ethan joined the fray. Sam clapped and cheered from the side. Finally, under the nuclear stares of the other three, Jason decided that tomorrow's treat would be beef noodles, extra meat. Kevin also had a computer. He set it up, plugged in power and internet, and started browsing chat rooms and the school forum. My God, amazing, absolutely amazing. Suddenly, he screamed. Jason was playing a game at the next desk and jumped. Holy crap, Keg, what are you screaming for? Scared me to death. Come look, big news. The forum is exploding. Kevin shouted excitedly. Ethan, come look. Ethan was replying to company emails, typing away. No time right now. Wait a sec. Jason ignored him too. What big news could it be? Someone won a prize or something? No, it's a beauty. We have a new campus queen. Holy crap. She's gorgeous. This face. Truly a goddess. Kevin stared at the screen, eyes glazed over. Hearing beauty, Jason abandoned his game instantly, sprinting over to crane his neck at the screen. He was instantly stunned by the photo. On the screen was a beauty in a blue dress, long hair flowing, standing by the road with a suitcase. Her grace was unparalleled, especially that snow-white skin and exquisite face, flawless. My God, top tier of the top tier. She definitely qualifies as the new campus queen. Jason exclaimed. Kevin looked love-struck. This is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Jason nodded in agreement. Indeed, I have seen countless women. Compared to the women I've seen, she is absolutely number one. Holy crap, the entire forum front page is full of her pictures and discussion threads. Beauty really has influence. The animals on the forum are too excited. Ethan, come look. Kevin waved his hand frantically. Ethan finished sending his email and finally got up to look. Isn't that Grace? He didn't expect such a big commotion. Seems her title as the new campus queen was going to spread through the school. How about it, Ethan? Pretty enough. Kevin laughed. My girlfriend is indeed very pretty. Ethan nodded, smiling. Jason and Kevin immediately turned their heads to give him a massive look of contempt. TCH, your girlfriend? Ethan, you have no shame. Kevin scorned. Jason snorted, laughing. If she's your girlfriend, then my girlfriend is Zhang Ziyi. Then my girlfriend is Avril Lavigne. Kevin added. Jason patted Ethan's shoulder, sounding like an old man. Ethan, it's normal for young men to have fantasies. I understand, but you can't just look at a photo and say she's your girlfriend. That's wrong and inappropriate. That's not a fantasy, that's a delusion. Ethan kept a straight face. She really is my girlfriend. Bull? Like hell we believe you. Kevin asked disdainfully. Ethan, do you think we're idiots? Easy to trick. Ethan laughed and cried at the same time, shrugging. If you don't believe me, forget it. Can't be bothered to explain. Jason grinned. Hey, Ethan, I'll send you the photo later. You can make your dreams a little more realistic tonight. Hey, Jason makes sense. Ethan, I'll pick the photo for you. If you really have a crush on the new queen, go for it. We're your strongest backup. Kevin patted his chest loyally. Ethan smiled wryly, shaking his head. Already got her. What's there to chase? You guys play, I have work. With that, Ethan returned to his seat and continued working. With the laptop, he could work remotely via instant messenger, though the servers sometimes lagged, making it barely manageable. For important documents, he used email. Thankfully, his own server setup was smooth. Beep, beep, beep. Henry Payne sent a message. Henry, Ethan, the 3 internet cafes are nearing the end of renovation. Should we prepare for equipment installation? Ethan, okay. I'll start preparing the computer procurement. You keep an eye on the construction. Henry, will do, Ethan. Waiting for your notice. Ethan rubbed his chin. The cafes were almost done. It was time to talk to the bank about a loan. 3 cafes, estimated 200 units each, meant 600 computers. At a mid to high-end config price of $1,000 per unit, bulk adapted, that was a $600,000 cash investment. Even with bulk purchasing bringing it down to $800, that was still $480,000. If he used Westford's cash reserves, it would strain his cash flow. So Ethan had planned from the start to use the bank's money to make money. Leverage was the best method, provided the return was high enough. Based on current market research, a single machine could generate 10 minus 10 P6.10 - 15 a day. Investing $600,000 meant recouping the cost in just 3 to 4 months. The internet cafe industry was that profitable right now. From 2001 on, capital would flood the market. Ethan planned an aggressive expansion. Once these 3 cafes were running and profitable, he planned to leverage millions from the bank to open a chain across Chicago. After capturing the Chicago market this year, he would replicate the model in New York, Los Angeles, and other Tier 1 cities. Tier 1 cities had more consumption potential than Tier 2 or 3. 2 years to cover the Tier 1 cities was his goal. Decision made. Ethan took out his phone to call Professor Hall. At dinner, Hall mentioned knowing bank executives. Ethan walked out of the dorm as the call connected. "Hello, Ethan. What's up?" Hall's friendly voice came through. "Hey, Professor. Are you busy? Am I disturbing you? I have something I wanted to ask your advice on." Ethan smiled. When asking for favors, never jump straight to business. Check if they're free first. Basic etiquette. "I'm just in the office drinking tea alone. It's convenient." "What is it?" Hall laughed. Ethan paused, then said, "It's like this, Professor. My 3 internet cafes are almost finished renovating. I want to apply for a business operation loan. Didn't you mention you knew some people in banking? I wanted to find a time to meet up and chat." Hall was surprised. "Finished already?" "Ethan, your efficiency is high." No problem. How much do you plan to borrow?" "Ethan, $400,000. Hall paused. $400,000. That's not small. I estimate only 2 or 3 banks would lend that easily. Some have complex procedures. I recommend you talk to Chicago Development Bank first. It's a local bank, not huge, but their recent policies supporting small and medium enterprises are good. Procedures are easier, terms are favorable. With West Ford's qualifications, applying shouldn't be a problem. I happen to know the manager of their credit department. I'll arrange a dinner for you." Hearing this, Ethan rejoiced inside. Building relationship with Hall was absolutely necessary. Using the Haley situation to get Hall to owe him a favor, and now asking for help, it would go smoothly. Great. Thank you so much. If there's news, just call me." Ethan laughed happily. "Hall, sure, I'll arrange it ASAP. I know school just started, so I'll try for the weekend. Convenient for everyone." "You got it. Thanks, Professor. By the way, how is Haley these last 2 days? Is she developing according to the document?" Ethan asked about Haley. She's in her room banging out code all day. She has to report to TechU in 2 days and hasn't prepared at all. Her mind is entirely on that. But it's good. Saves her from running wild. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. You dug out this talent. I originally wanted her to study accounting. Now I have to find a way to transfer her to computer science," Hall said happily. "Hey, small thing. Haley finding a direction she loves. She's smart. If she persists, she'll succeed," Ethan praised. Every parent loves hearing their child praised. "Not as good as you say. Let's see if she sticks with it." Hall was humble. They chatted a bit more before hanging up. Ethan looked at his phone and chuckled. This was the power of connections. To get things done, especially in business, connections were vital. Building a network was a profound problem. You couldn't understand the effect without experiencing society. They say you need a noble person to help you in business. That person doesn't fall from the sky. You have to grab them, maintain a good relationship, and convert that into opportunity. Ethan was about to return to the dorm when his phone rang. It was Grace. "Hello, Grace. Miss me?" "Narcissist. Who misses you?" I'm just hungry. Wanted to ask if you wanted to go to the food street." "Sure. I'm not hungry, but I can walk with you." Ethan said dotingly. Grace felt honey sweet inside. "Okay, it's a deal. Wait for me at the entrance of girls' dorm 12. See you soon, Grace laughed happily. Hanging up, Grace lay on her bed, kicking her smooth legs, clearly in a great mood. Chloe Jones was cleaning and saw her lovesick expression. "Grace, who were you calling? So excited." "Ethan, of course. We're going foraging." Grace's cheeks were pink. "Oh my, Ethan this, Ethan that. Always on your lips. Since you started dating, I feel like you've gone silly. They say pregnancy makes you silly for 3 years. Love makes you silly for life," Chloe teased. "No way. Don't talk nonsense. When is he always on my lips?" Grace raised her chin arrogantly, denying it. Chloe covered her mouth, laughing. "Next time I'll buy a recorder. Tape you. See if you can deny it then." Just then, roommate Dana walked in with flowers and chocolate. "Grace, another gift for you. 3rd one today. This one is from some senior named Zach Shore." She put the flowers and chocolate on Grace's desk. Chloe sighed. "Indeed, our Grace is chased everywhere. In high school, she got gifts and love letters constantly. Looks like college is no escape. But the gifts have upgraded. Not just snacks and candy anymore. Chocolate. Donalit. I checked the forum at noon. Grace is already the new campus queen, the new goddess. She's on fire online. Then she sat next to Grace, full of gossip. Hey, Grace, who is this Zach Shore? Do you know him? Grace sat up, pouting. I know him. He took me to register this morning. But he's annoying. Didn't expect him to send flowers this afternoon. If he doesn't take them back, you guys handle them. I don't want them. I have a boyfriend. Later I'll post on the forum. This flower has an owner. Do not disturb. Chloe, twitch your mouth. Cough. Grace, I remind you. If you post that, your Ethan becomes the public enemy of the entire male student body. He might get jumped at night. Very dangerous. Grace huffed. Let me see them try. Ethan is under my protection. What? Are you going to be his bodyguard? Chloe put down the broom, laughing. True. Forget it. But if anyone asks you to deliver gifts, reject them for me. Thanks. Grace clasped her hands in thanks. Oops, getting late. Gotta wash my hair and go. Or Ethan will be waiting downstairs and nagging. Saying that, Grace sprinted into the bathroom. Chloe chuckled, shaking her head. That girl. She's really good to Ethan. Hee hee. So sweet. Dana smiled maternally. Half an hour later, Grace washed her hair, changed clothes, and hurried out. Downstairs at the girls' dorm, Ethan stood under a tree, watching the sun set. Checking the time, it was already 7:00 p.m. Usually Grace was quick. Why so long today? He muttered to himself. A moment later, Grace appeared at the door. She carried a small shoulder bag, wearing a white shirt and jeans. Stylish and beautiful, she trotted all the way to Ethan. Ethan, did you wait long? Ethan saw she was wearing light makeup. Hey, not long. But you're wearing makeup. Grace blushed. If I like it. Do you think it looks bad? Beautiful, beautiful. Grace Miller is the #1 beauty in the world. Okay. Ethan doted. Let's go. Where do you want to eat? Ethan turned around, but Grace raised her hand. What? What do you want? Your hand. Grace glared at him, blushing. Ethan, hold my hand. What are you staring at? Ethan Ford chuckled, reaching out to take her hand. He gave it a gentle squeeze. Grace Miller's hand felt soft and smooth in his palm. All right, Your Highness, are we ready to roll? Grace leaned into him with a satisfied hum, and they walked side by side, fingers interlaced. As they strolled through the campus grounds, the evening air was filled with their casual chatter. You have no idea, Ethan. Today was such a drag, Grace complained, her lips pursed in a pout. I had like 7 or 8 guys coming up to ask for my number, and 3 of them even had flowers delivered to my dorm. It's so annoying. Ethan laughed. Well, that's to be expected. Who told you to be the new campus queen? You're crushing the competition. Grace rolled her eyes at him. You're still laughing? How can you laugh at a time like this? If this keeps up, how am I supposed to study? Aren't you afraid someone might steal me away? Ethan looked at her with mock seriousness. Nope, because you beat them to death. Grace blinked. Ethan, is your butt itching for kicking again? Grace pinched the soft flesh at his waist. Am I such a violent person? Am I not gentle? Ethan sucked in a cold breath, forcing a smile. Gentle? You were the most gentle. The last time I saw a girl this gentle was, well, the last time I saw you. Grace burst out laughing, a sound like a blooming flower, beautiful and moving. In that moment, watching her smile, Ethan felt his heart melting. Gracie, you look really pretty when you smile. You should do it more often, Ethan suggested. Grace shot him a playful glare. If I smiled all day, wouldn't I look like an idiot? Then you'd be a very pretty idiot, Ethan said solemnly. Ethan Ford, I'm going to rip you apart. Grace feigned anger and raised her hand to strike. Ethan, knowing he was outmatched, turned and bolted. They chased each other out of the campus gates, laughing and playing until they reached the same street where they had eaten lunch. It was even livelier at night. The college crowd really kept the economy booming. There was money to be made all day long. Stop, truce, Ethan said, waving his hands as he caught his breath. Grace, didn't you say you were hungry? What do you want to eat? Grace naturally slipped her arm through his, clinging to him affectionately. I want mini donuts, and kebabs, and lots of other yummy stuff. Ethan smiled. Done. Whatever you want. I'll feed you until you turn into a little piggy, and then no one want to steal you from me. Grace's cheeks flushed, and she spat back. You're the one who's going to be a piggy. I'm not getting fat. Ethan chuckled, knowing Grace cared deeply about her figure. It was just nature for a girl to want to look good. There's a barbecue stand up ahead. Let's go look, Grace said excitedly, dragging Ethan toward the delicious, smoky aroma. They arrived at the stall. The owner was an older man, clearly not a local, with a thick beard that made him look like a character from a folklore storybook. Hey there, Hollywood. And Miss America. What can I get for you? Couple of lamb skewers? Mai ti fine eating. Kikin flavor. The old vendor greeted them with a thick, unfamiliar accent. Grace mimicked his tone playfully. Gimme 2 skewers then, heavy on the spice. Gotta have plenty of meat to be kicking, right? Ethan played along. That's right, boss. Smelling good here. Throw some extra onions on there. Make it proper. The old vendor listened to their banter and blinked, confused for a second. You 2 folks from back home, too? Grace covered her mouth, laughing. Nope, just saw it on TV. The vendor burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. All right then. He grilled up 2 large lamb skewers and even threw in a complimentary side of spicy Cajun rice with some organ meat delicacies for $5. May your love last a long, long time. Come back soon, you hear? The old vendor placed a hand over his heart and bowed slightly. Grace felt sweet inside. She smiled beamingly. Thanks, boss. Hope you sell out tonight. Ethan paid, and they found a quiet corner on the street to devour their skewers. This is so good. Grace chewed with her cheeks puffed out, looking like a cute hamster. Slow down, don't choke, Ethan warned. $3 for such a huge skewer. That guy's really honest, Grace said happily, ignoring the grease staining the corner of her mouth. In no time, she had polished off the entire skewer, leaving her lips glistening with oil. Look at you, grease all over your mouth. Let me get that. Ethan pulled out a tissue and gently wiped her lips. Grace looked at Ethan's serious expression, feeling the gentle motion against her lips. Her face heated up, and her heart began to thump wildly in her chest. This jerk, he actually knows how to take care of people. They are all clean, Ethan smiled. Thanks, Ethan. You're the best. Saying that, Grace stood on her tiptoes, tilted her head, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Ethan touched his cheek, stunned. He hadn't expected Grace to be so forward. A feeling like honey spread through his chest. All right, Grace Miller, you don't play fair. Sneak attacking a defenseless, handsome young man like me. Watch out for my lightning 5-hit kiss combo. Ethan puckered his lips, leaning in to kiss her back. Haha, no way, you can't catch me. Neener, neener. Grace dodged, her face flushing red as she made a funny face at him. Hee, you can't escape my clutches. Ethan turned into the big bad wolf and pounced. But Grace sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, twisted it behind his back, and perfectly restrained him. Ethan, not here. So many people are watching. Grace's eyes held a shy glint as she scanned the passersby. People walking by occasionally cast curious glances at the playful couple. Ethan gave a roguish grin. So on the way back, if we find a quiet corner with no people, that's a yes. Grace's face turned even redder, the blush spreading down to her neck. She rolled her eyes at him. Why does this jerk always have to push his luck? He's so bad, so Grace. Silence means consent. Fine. I'm ignoring you. We'll talk later. I get it. I understand. Ugh. Ethan, you don't understand anything. I want ice cream. No problem, deal. I want some too. Gracie, do you want a rocket pop? Yes. 2 of them. As soon as food was mentioned, the truce was automatic. Grace took Ethan's arm, and they continued their eat walk. They sampled almost every snack on the strip, buying just 1 portion to share, so they could taste everything without getting too full. Toward the end of the street, there was a small plaza in front of a shopping center. Right next to it was a shop selling ice cream and rocket pops. Ice cream and rocket pops. Grace cheered, dragging Ethan toward the shop. At the entrance, she turned to ask, Ethan, you want some? Burp, I'm stuffed. I'll pass, you enjoy. Ethan burped and laughed helplessly. The big lunch hadn't fully digested, and after all the snacking tonight, he was at his limit. Okay, then you just have to watch me eat. Grace grinned triumphantly. Boss, 1 ice cream cone and 1 rocket pop. The owner inside was a middle-aged man wearing a flat cap and casual linen clothes, giving off a bit of an artistic vibe. Sure thing, miss. 1 moment. The owner smiled faintly and turned to scoop the ice cream. After handing her the cone, he passed her the rocket pop. You guys can sit over there if you're tired. The shop has seating, the owner said politely. There were indeed 5 patio umbrellas with tables and chairs set up next to the shop. Thanks, boss. Ethan nodded with a smile and paid the bill. They sat down at a table near the sidewalk. Grace happily licked her ice cream. Before long, she had a white smear of ice cream on her upper lip, looking like a little white mustache. Ethan felt a tug at his heart. He crooked his finger at Grace, signaling her to lean in. What is it, Ethan? Grace obediently leaned her head forward, looking puzzled, unaware of his intentions. Ethan reached out, gently held her chin, and moved his face closer slowly. Suddenly, he closed the gap and kissed her right on the lips. MMPH. Grace was caught completely off guard. Her eyes went wide, and her face turned into a ripe apple instantly. She froze, one hand holding the ice cream, the other the rocket pop, arms suspended in the air. The middle-aged owner happened to look over at that moment. He squinted, an involuntary, kindly smile appearing on his face. To be young, that's the life. Passers-by cast envious glances at the couple. Several seconds later, Ethan released her, smacking his lips. That ice cream tastes really sweet. Grace felt her face burning, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it might jump out her chest. She glared at him. You jerk. Ethan, you. There are so many people. Hey, Gracie, now we're even. Ethan said brazenly. Grace took a huge bite of her ice cream, as if she were biting him. If you just wait, I'll deal with you when we get back. What? You want revenge? Here, I'll let you get me back right now. Ethan puckered his lips and leaned in again. But the next moment, what met his lips was the freezing, cold ice cream cone. Now it was Ethan with a mouth full of white cream, looking like Santa Claus. Huh, you look hilarious. Grace laughed, her clear, bell-like laughter ringing in the night air. Grace Miller, I'm going to smear this on your face. Ethan feigned anger. As they played, the sound of a guitar, strumming, drifted over from the shop entrance. They instinctively looked over. The owner was sitting on a stool by the door, legs crossed, tuning a guitar, but his brow was furrowed. It seemed there were two strings he just couldn't get to harmonize no matter how much he twisted the pegs. Sigh, broken again. The middle-aged owner sighed, shaking his head with a bitter smile. Boss, sounds like the second and third strings are off. Mind if I give it a try? Ethan smiled at him. HM, you know how to tune a guitar, young man? The owner looked at him in surprise. Learned a bit back in the day, Ethan replied. The owner looked pleased. Really? Then please give it a shot. It's okay if you can't fix it. He handed the guitar to Ethan. Ethan took it, checked it carefully, plucked the strings one by one, listened intently to the pitch, and adjusted the tension. After a moment, Ethan smiled. That should do it. He strummed a chord. The sound was rich and harmonious. Wow, you really did it. It's fixed. The owner exclaimed in delight. You've got some skill, young man. He gave Ethan a thumbs up. Ethan strummed a few chords, glanced at the curious Grace beside him, and had an idea. Boss, can I borrow this for a song? Ethan asked with a smile. Of course. I got a mic and an amp too. I like to sing a few tunes when it's slow. Opened this shop just to fund my hobby, really. Love music. The owner laughed heartily. He went inside and brought out a mic stand, an amp, and cables, setting them up next to Ethan. Ethan, what are you going to sing? The one from last time? Grace asked, her face full of anticipation. Ever since she heard him sing by the lake during their camping trip, she'd often dreamed of that moment and his magnetic voice. His singing had a magic that she craved every day. Ethan plucked a light, breezy melody. Just the sound of it made one feel sweet and relaxed. No, this is a new one. A really good one. Grace, it's called Why Not? This is for you. Ethan crossed his legs, sat facing her, and with a doting smile began to play. Skies turning gray. Wish I was staying at your place. Stand in the rain. Count in drops on your window pane. If I had a grand piano, I'd play a melody just for you. Even if the roof was leaking and we were soaked through. Ethan's magnetic voice floated through the air, accompanied by the sweet, upbeat melody, echoing down the lively street. Pedestrians stopped in their tracks, drawn by the beautiful singing. In no time, a large crowd had gathered around the shop entrance, blocking the way. This song is so good, so sweet. Yeah, this guy can really sing. Is he singing to his girlfriend? That's so adorable. People whispered in the crowd, but soon fell silent, completely immersed in the music, heads bobbing to the rhythm. Ethan didn't notice the crowd behind him. In his eyes, there was only Grace. In his world, she was the only one there. Singing this song, don't need a genre or a rhyme. Just want to make you smile, take up a little of your time. I'd melt the ice for you. Catch a fire just to prove it's true. Nothing's too much, nothing I wouldn't do. Singing this song, don't need a genre or a rhyme. Just want to make you smile, take up a little of your time. I toss and turn all night, give up the world just to make it right. Summers end and autumns chill, but your warmth is with me still. Grace listened, a sweet, goofy smile on her face, deeply moved. Unknowingly, tears welled up in her eyes. Tears of sweetness. Tears of joy. Damn you, Ethan. Making me cry like this. Grace wiped a tear away, her heart overflowing with honey. He sings so well, Ethan. I like you too. I could be a moth flying to the fire for you too. I could give up the world for you too. I just want you happy, tossin' and tinnin' all night. Give up the world for you, why not? Why not? Summers end and autumns chill, colors changing on the hill. The song ended. Ethan finished with a final guitar solo, putting a perfect period on the performance. The guitar notes faded, but the melody seemed to linger in the ears of every listener. After a moment of silence, the crowd erupted into thunderous applause. The applause was deafening and relentless. Ethan was startled by the sudden explosion of noise and quickly turned around. He hadn't realized a massive crowd had gathered behind him. Holy crap, that's a lot of people. Voices from the crowd started shouting. Idol, idol, one more. Yeah, encore, please. What song was that? It was amazing. Never heard that tune before, it's so catchy. Boo-hoo, it's so sweet I'm crying. The crowd was buzzing, chanting for the idol. Most of them were college students from the nearby universities. Many had that special someone in their hearts, so the song struck a huge chord. Others were just lost in the vibe. The middle-aged owner, Sid Nash, snapped out of his trance. He looked at Ethan with excitement. Young man, you sing incredibly well. What is that song called? His eyes were burning with eagerness. Why not? Ethan smiled slightly, handing the guitar back. Why not? Great name. Sid took the guitar, but set it on the table immediately, pulling a business card from his pocket. Let's exchange info. I'm Sid Nash. Ethan Ford. Ethan took the card with both hands and glanced at it. General Manager, Southmount Music Studio, Sid Nash. A look of surprise flashed in Ethan's eyes. He hadn't expected the owner of an ice cream shop to have such a title. Sid noticed the confusion and laughed. This is my wife's shop. I come over to cover shifts after work. I love music, just don't have much talent for it. So opening a production studio was my way of fulfilling the dream. Ethan, you sang so well just now. I'd love to chat more about music sometime, grab some food. I love talking music with talented young people. Huh? Ethan pulled out his own card and handed it over with a smile. Coincidence. I love making friends too. Here's my card. Huh? Good, Sid beamed. Ethan stood up and took Grace's hand. Thanks for the loan of the guitar, boss. We'll catch you later. No problem at all. You fixed the old girl for me. Had her for years. Wouldn't know what to do if she broke for good, Sid said gratefully. Ethan grinned. All right, Boss Nash. See you around. Too many people here, we gotta run. With that, Ethan pulled Grace toward the side of the crowd. Idol, don't go. One more song. Idol, you should debut right now. I buy your album. Yeah, one more. The crowd was getting rowdy, cheering and hollering. Ethan waved. Thanks for the love, everyone. Bye-bye. They squeezed through the throng and sprinted away. Once they were clear of the mob and reached the quiet end of the street, they slowed down. Why did you run? Why didn't you sing a few more? Grace covered her mouth, giggling. Ethan rolled his eyes. Grace, do you think I'm a human jukebox? Or was I supposed to hold a solo concert right there? If the crowd got too hyped, we'd never get out. Grace hugged his arm, pressing her body against his, and said sweetly, That's because you sang so beautifully. I love it too. Ethan rubbed her head dotingly. If you like it that much, I'll sing for you again later. Okay, but you should record it on a cassette tape, so I can listen to it on my Walkman. Grace said hopefully. Sure. Whatever you want. Ethan smiled. Yay, you promised. No takebacks. Whoever takes it back is a puppy dog. Grace hugged him happily. Hey, Grace. I worked so hard singing for you, don't I get a little? Representation? What representation? A little something something. What do you mean? Come on, you playing dumb with me? I'm not. Zomega. Women. So troublesome. Guess I have to take matters into my own hands to get fed. Ethan. What are you doing? Ethan cupped her face and kissed her. MMPH. Ethan, you. Tens of seconds later. Phew, Ethan, that's enough. Wait, we're on the street. Grace's face was as red as an apple. She glared at him shyly and wiped her lips. Ethan is getting more and more unrestrained. If you lecture. All right. We'll continue when we get back. Ethan licked his lips, looking unsatisfied. No way. Grace lifted her chin arrogantly. Seeing her trying to play hard to get, Ethan felt an itch in his heart. But hey, they'd reached second base plenty of times. Could a home run be far off? No ruse. All right, it's getting late. Let's head back. I think the RA is doing bed checks tonight, Ethan said. Roll call. I almost forgot. Hurry. I don't want to get demerits on the first day. Grace grabbed his arm and started power walking back. They returned to the university, and Ethan walked her to her dorm building. It was 9:00 p.m. The entrance was quiet. Okay, Ethan, I'm going up. Grace waved, looking a bit reluctant to part. Ethan leaned his cheek forward, tapping his right side. Wait, kiss before you go. Grace rolled her eyes, but gave him a quick peck on the cheek like a dragonfly skimming water. Happy now? If you always push your luck. I'm going in. You get back too. Grace pouted and turned to leave. Ethan chuckled mischievously. Grace was very trainable. In a great mood, hummed a tune all the way back to his dorm. He walked in just as the resident assistant, R.A., was doing rounds. The R.A. looked fresh out of college, wearing glasses, but with a stern, cold expression. His name was Derek Vance. Ethan Ford, right? Why are you back so late? Trying to get written up? Derek pushed up his glasses, showing no mercy. Hey, Derek, don't be like that. Here, have a smoke. He just stepped out. Probably didn't know you were coming. Kevin Keg. O'Connor quickly stepped up, offering a cigarette to smooth things over. Derek took the cigarette with fake reluctance. Don't let it happen again. I'm checking every night this week, so watch yourselves. He turned to leave with his clipboard, frowning as he passed Ethan. Move. Ethan stepped aside to let him pass. Once he was gone, Ethan shook his head. Give a guy a tiny bit of power, and he thinks he's got. This was the most arrogant RA he'd ever met. RAs were supposed to help students, basically semi-mentors. But nowadays, some of them use their power over leave requests, roll calls, and scholarship applications to ride roughshod over everyone. Forget it, Ford. Don't lower yourself to his level. We gotta stay on his good side, or getting leave will be a nightmare. Not to mention scholarships, Keg advised. Ethan smiled. I'm here to study, not to be bullied. Besides, my 4-year full scholarship is locked in. He can't touch me. Jason Yerk stood up from his computer. Yeah, Ford, you're the state valedictorian. What are you afraid of? Next time he gets cocky, just tell him off. Ethan shook his head with a smile. If he doesn't mess with me, I won't mess with him, as long as he stays out of my lane. Ethan walked to his desk to change into slippers. Jason sniffed the air, looking surprised. HM? Ford, why do you smell like women's perfume? It's faint, but definitely a girl's smell. Ethan rolled his eyes. You got a dog nose or something? Hee. I am a self-taught expert in the scent of a woman. Spill it. Where were you this afternoon and evening? Jason ran over, hooking an arm around Ethan's shoulder, face full of gossip. Where else? Went shopping with my girlfriend. Hit the night market. Ethan replied casually. Girlfriend? Nice, Ford. This morning you said you had your eye on the new campus queen. Now you have a girlfriend? You play fast. Reminds me of my prime. Jason laughed sleazily. Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. Can't you conceive that they might be the same person? Jason shook his head, laughing. The new campus queen? Hey, Ford, don't tease. Even daydreaming has limits. I am gonna go shower. You keep dreaming. Won't disturb your fantasy. Jason grabbed his clothes and headed to the bathroom. Ethan shrugged, too lazy to explain, and went online to handle company business. 2 days of orientation passed. Classes began, and preparations for military training started. However, their homeroom teacher, Mr. Stone, announced that due to a factory issue, the camo uniforms were delayed and would take about 2 weeks. On the 3rd day, Ethan received a call from Wayne Tank Turner. 3 popular computer parts were out of stock. Customers were pressing, but the supplier didn't have them. This was going to cost them a lot of business. Ethan immediately requested leave and rushed to the company. At noon, Ethan met Wayne in the office. Tank, what's going on? Why is the TNT2 M64 card out? And the Samsung 950 nanofarads and Hynix 128 RAM? Doesn't Keystone Corp always supply those? Ethan asked, frowning. I called Keystone. They said the distribution rights changed. The provincial distributor cut them off, so they have no stock, Wayne said helplessly. Ethan's face darkened. He sensed something fishy. This won't work. These 3 parts sell in high volume. If we don't have them, and others do, we'll lose customers. Ethan said gravely. This was a supply chain crisis. Customer behavior is goal-oriented. If a guy wants that TNT2 card and you don't have it, he goes elsewhere. The revenue loss would be significant. These were golden items, making up 15% to 20% of sales. Losing that share meant losing a lot of money. Tank, come with me to the tech tower. We need to ask Keystone personally and then check Southbridge Traders to see if they have stock, Ethan decided after a moment. He had to figure out the situation before making a plan. Right, Ford. Let's go. Wayne nodded. He was managing West Ford Electronics now. He needed to build these supplier relationships. Ethan drove Wayne to the tech tower. They met with General Manager Lucas North at Keystone Corp. In the conference room, after some pleasantries, Ethan cut to the chase. Lucas, haven't you been the secondary distributor for the Samsung 95 nanofarads and Hynix RAM? Why were the rights suddenly canceled? Lucas North smiled bitterly. Ethan, business is sudden like that. The upper-level provincial distributor is aggressive. They change who they want. I pulled some strings, but the decision was made. I can't do anything. Without those 2 parts, I'm losing a lot too. Ethan pondered for a moment. Do you know who took the rights? I think it was Sterling Tech. I don't know the details, just heard it mentioned upstairs. Lucas shrugged. Hearing Sterling Tech, Ethan narrowed his eyes. Sure enough, it was them playing dirty. Knock, knock. The secretary opened the door. Mr. North, Mr. Pearson and Mr. Grant from Sterling Tech are here. Do you want to see them? Lucas was stunned. He hadn't expected Sterling Tech to show up. All right, I'll see them. Lucas nodded. Lucas will go with you. Ethan smiled faintly. They left the conference room and saw Mr. Pearson and Eugene Grant in the office. The two of them noticed Ethan and Wayne standing behind Lucas. Mr. Ford. Long time no see. Pearson stood up, a sneer crossing his face. Ethan stared at him calmly. I heard Mr. Pearson recently picked up the rights to 3 new parts. Mr. Ford is well informed. Pearson admitted it directly, without hesitation, even showing a hint of smug bragging. He had spent heavy capital and pulled many strings to get the exclusive distribution rights for the Chicago area fictionalized context. It killed 2 birds with 1 stone, strengthened his market position, and struck a blow at Ethan. He was here to negotiate with Lucas North. If Lucas cut Ethan off, Pearson would supply him at a discount. And not just Lucas. He could make this deal with everyone in the tech tower. As long as they cut Ethan out, he'd give them a good price. Businessmen care about profit. If they agreed, he could strangle Ethan's supply line. Everything was going according to plan. Ethan had only been guessing, but he hadn't expected Pearson to admit it so brazenly. Well, congratulations then, Mr. Pearson, Ethan said coolly, though his heart sank. If Pearson secured rights to more and more mainstream products, the supply chain would be in his grip. This was dangerous. Oh, so Mr. Pearson and Mr. Ford know each other? Come, sit down, let's chat. Lucas North was surprised, but realized it was normal for a retailer like Ethan to know different distributors. Hearing Ethan congratulate Pearson, Lucas tried to gauge their relationship. At first, he thought they were friendly, but seeing their expressions, the atmosphere felt strange. Mr. Pearson, what brings you here today? Lucas passed cigarettes around. Nothing major, just here to talk some cooperation with you, Lucas. Pearson lit his cigarette, blew a smoke ring, and looked pointedly at Ethan. His eyes said clearly, Ethan shouldn't be here. Lucas was in a bind, but he turned to Ethan. Mr. Ford, didn't you have other matters to attend to? Ethan could guess what they wanted to discuss. Using superior supply to make Lucas a tertiary distributor for those hot parts, under the condition that he restricts supply to Ethan. Yeah, I do have things to do. You guys talk. I'm taking off. Ethan didn't light the cigarette. He stood up to leave. Mr. Ford, take care now, Pearson sneered. Eugene Grant laughed too, watching Ethan and Wayne leave. Once they were out of Keystone Corp, Wayne asked anxiously, Ford, what do we do? I feel like that old bastard Pearson is targeting us. Drop the feel like. He is. And we're just the start. Ethan's face was grim. If Lucas agrees to work with Pearson, our partnership with Keystone might be in danger. Wayne was worried. Ethan scoffed. Sterling Tech isn't big enough to swallow the whole world. Does he really think he runs the computer parts market in this city? Tank, later, call the account manager at Keystone. Tell him Westford Electronics is doubling our order volume for the other parts. Drop a hint that we're planning a massive sale and need more stock. Stabilize Lucas first. The profit from a few parts isn't enough to make him ditch our volume. Wayne thought for a moment and clapped his hands. Great idea, Ford. I'll call as soon as I get back. Ethan nodded, then thought for a moment. Tank, let's go to Southbridge Traders first. Bring 2 packs of good tea. Okay. Wayne replied. They bought 2 packs of premium tea leaves and headed to Southbridge Traders. Frank Zane received them in the tea room. Haha, Mr. Ford, what brings you here today? Frank asked with a smile, pouring tea for them. Frank, I came specifically to beg a cup of tea and to chat about that matter. How are the arrangements coming along? Ethan asked calmly. Last time, Ethan gave Frank an idea to dig a giant pit for Sterling Tech. A month had passed, and they had communicated a few times. The plan was in motion. Soon, I contacted a friend's company, Star City Enterprises. They'll be putting out the bid soon. Then, we go in to circle the bid. And another company, Horizon Systems, is ready. It's the one funded by the third company we set up. Lana has handled everything. The plan can proceed very soon. Frank spoke confidently, seemingly in control of everything. Ethan relaxed. Frank, you work fast. I am relieved. Without Sterling Tech, your business will definitely reach the next level. Frank's eyes held excitement, but he suppressed it, looking at Ethan instead. Compared to you, Mr. Ford, what is it? I hear your Westford Electronics has 6 stores now. Must be pulling in over $100,000 a month, right? Ethan sensed the probe. He shrugged. Nowhere near that. Just enough to keep the company fed. Not like you. Frank, with a big established business. Frank took a pack of Parliament cigarettes and offered them to Ethan and Wayne. Haha, don't be modest. Just the goods you pull from me. The net profit must be at least 30 or 40,000, right? Stop playing poor. Ethan chuckled, took the cigarette, and didn't confirm or deny. Wayne chimed in. Frank, you don't know how much we spend on staff. Salaries and rent alone are like 15 grand a month. We really don't make much. Frank poured tea, glancing at Wayne. Actually, Wayne, Ethan, I'm really bullish on West Ford Electronics development. If it wasn't making money, you wouldn't be expanding so fast. I heard a lot of repair business in the city is flocking to you guys. That's a big market. Low cost, high profit. Actually, frankly speaking, we could deepen our cooperation. Ethan asked impassively. Oh, how so, Frank? Frank blew a smoke ring, squinting at him. For instance, I invest in your company. With capital, West Ford can capture the market faster. And I can increase supply, guarantee stock. Best of both worlds. Since Ethan's rapid growth, Frank had been eyeing a piece of the pie. Seeing Ethan make so much money, he was envious. He wanted in. If Ethan opened up shares, great. If not, he might copy Ethan's model and enter the market himself. Then they'd go from partners to rivals. He didn't want that yet, so he proposed investing. He thought it was good for both. He wasn't content being just a distributor. He coveted the stable retail channel and market money Ethan was making. Frank saw Ethan thinking and added temptingly, Ethan, think about it. If I invest, we're family. I'd give you the maximum discount on goods. Wayne looked at Ethan, waiting to see his attitude toward Frank's offer. He trusted Ethan knew the pros and cons better than anyone. Ethan pondered for a long time before speaking. Frank, that's a solid proposal. But this is a major decision. Let me think it over. Ethan knew exactly what Frank was thinking. He just wanted a slice of the cake, specifically West Ford's cake. It involved his core interests. How could he agree? Besides, he wasn't short on capital or cash flow. Why bring in Frank's money? Although he would never agree, Ethan didn't reject him outright. He chose ambiguity. He still needed to maintain the relationship with Frank and source goods from Southbridge. If Southbridge cut him off, West Ford would face a supply crisis, forcing them to buy from tertiary dealers at higher costs, slashing profits. So, for the sake of profit, Ethan wouldn't tear up his relationship with Frank easily. But Frank was eyeing his company. He had to be more vigilant. Haha, true, it is a big deal. Ethan, think it over carefully. For you and me, cooperation is all benefit, no harm. Together, we can go big. That's the synergy of 1 + 1 being greater than 2. Frank laughed warmly on the surface, but his heart cooled a bit. From Ethan's attitude, this wouldn't be an easy sell. He'd have to think of other ways later. Just then, Lana Cole pushed the door open, carrying some pastries. Here, don't just drink tea. Have some snacks. I bought them on the way to work this morning, from the bakery downtown. Lana smiled warmly, placing the pastries on the coffee table. Ms. Cole, did you guess we were coming? That's some psychic ability. Ethan laughed, knowing these were likely bought for Frank. Mr. Ford, you tease. No chic. Just a coincidence that I bought them and you arrived. Please try some. Lana covered her mouth, laughing. All right, we won't be shy then. Ethan nodded, passing the plate to Frank first. Guest rules. Host first. Frank smiled, took a pastry, and asked Lana, how are preparations with Star City and Horizon Systems? Any issues with the plan? Frank, everything is smooth. The tender notice goes out tomorrow. The bidding meeting is the day after. Lana replied seriously. Frank nodded. Good. Keep an eye on it. And leak the news. Let Star City invite a few more companies to bid. Then, us, and using Horizon's name, will participate too. Ethan, are you going? Ethan smiled slightly. Go? Why not? I'll represent West Ford. Good. If Sterling Tech knows you're there, they'll try even harder. Frank laughed loudly. Come, let's toast with tea. To the success of the plan. Frank raised his cup. Ethan narrowed his eyes, smiled, and raised his cup too. The show was about to begin. That afternoon, in Pearson's office at Sterling Tech. Pearson was in a good mood, watering his plants. The door opened, and Eugene Grant rushed in, beaming. Mr. Pearson, Mr. Pearson, good news. Pearson turned around. Oh, what good news has you this excited? We just got a bidding invitation from Star City Enterprises. They're planning a huge municipal project. They need 800 desktop PCs. The budget is $1 million. $1 million. Big project. Eugene was ecstatic. If they could land this, even a 20% margin meant $1 million in profit. Just thinking about it was thrilling. And the project wasn't the only thing. It opened a door. Establishing a relationship meant more chances to make money later. Oh, Star City? What's their background? Pearson suppressed his excitement and asked. Don't worry, Mr. Pearson. I checked. Star City does office modernization, mostly for private factories and city projects. They're legit, scale of tens of millions. And I asked around. Other peers got invitations too. Eugene laughed. Pearson finally smiled. This is a chance to make big money. We have to grab it. Did you reply? Sterling Tech is in. Mr. Pearson. I already replied. Sent it to their company email. They sent the project spec file for reference. I think, with our supply advantage and cost control, we can win this. Eugene said with high morale. Pearson laughed happily. Good. Go for it. Knock knock. Come in, Pearson called out. The door opened, and Calvin Trent walked in. Seeing Eugene, he knew what was being reported. Mr. Pearson, you know about the Star City tender? Calvin asked. Yes, just got the good news. Pearson nodded, looking at him. Calvin thought for a moment. Mr. Pearson, the file they sent has other requirements. Like the deadline. If we win, we need to prep and deliver the goods within 5 days. Also, the configuration list has some parts we don't distribute. This might carry some risk. Pearson frowned, feeling Calvin was too conservative. So what's your point? Calvin said seriously. I think we shouldn't participate in this bid. The risk is higher than typical projects. Eugene, who had long resented the parachuted in Calvin, said sarcastically. Old Cal, I know plenty of peers are joining. Are you saying we don't even have their strength? What's 5 days? If we really work, running 48 hours straight, 800 PCs isn't impossible to build. How hard is it? We've done 1,000 units in 3 days before. Besides, I saw the list. If we don't have it, don't peers have it? Isn't it on the market? How big is the risk? Worst case, we import from another city. He completely refuted Calvin, and his points sounded logical. Calvin's face cooled. If the deadline was 2 weeks, or 10 days, I'd say fine. But 5 days is too tight. The risk exists. Eugene snorted. So, you mean we should just watch others make money? What business has zero risk? This is a 1 million project. If you don't want risk, go home and farm. No, wait. Farming is risk too. Rain and wind. Pearson saw them arguing and knew it would hurt morale. He slammed the table. Enough. I'll decide. Listen to me. We have to fight for a project this big. It's a new revenue stream. Giving up for a little risk isn't worth it. I've decided. Sterling Tech will bid. Eugene, you're in charge. Eugene looked delighted, then shot a smug glance at Calvin. Okay, we listen to Mr. Pearson. We'll do our best to win this. 2 days later, the Cloudview Hotel conference room. It was the day of Star City Enterprises' open tender. Over 30 people from 20 companies filled the room. Please sign in, submit your tender documents, and pay the bid bond, a Star City manager announced to the crowd. Ethan and Wayne were there. Frank and Lana were also present. However, they kept their distance. Ford, will Sterling Tech really show up? Haven't seen them yet. Think they backed out. Wayne whispered. Ethan smiled. Relax. They signed up, they'll come. A cake this big? They definitely want to bite. Money is just that tempting. Just then, 3 men walked in, Pearson, Eugene Grant, and Calvin Trent. Pearson scanned the room and saw Ethan. Mr. Ford is bidding too. Pearson walked over with a fake greeting, eyes flashing with disdain. I don't want to miss a chance to make money. Didn't you come too, Mr. Pearson? Ethan said calmly. You're right. Who doesn't want money? Looks like we're competitors today. Mr. Ford, I won't go easy on you. Pearson said sarcastically. May the best man win. No need for mercy. Whether you get the project depends on the client. Careful you don't capsize in the gutter, Mr. Pearson. Ethan retorted without mercy. Ethan took Wayne to register and submit their bid. The smile vanished from Pearson's face, replaced by gloom. Kid, you're too green to fight me. Just watch. Mr. Pearson, let's submit ours, Eugene said excitedly. He had spent 2 days polishing the bid proposal perfectly. He felt confident. Huge chance to win. Yeah, go. Pearson nodded, then led Calvin to seats near the front. All companies completed the process and sat down. The Star City team and the notary officials sat at the front table, beginning to review and announce the bids. Calling the bid meant reading out the price and discount. Since this was PC assembly, wiggle room was small. Retailers like Ethan couldn't beat the prices of secondary distributors like Pearson or Frank, so his total bid was higher. West Ford Company, bid price $5.06 million, no other discounts. Sterling Tech, bid price $4.80 million, 5% discount. Horizon Systems, bid price $5.03 million, 5% discount, plus complimentary extra system software services. Hearing the West Ford bid, Pearson sneered. Wes Ford thinks they can win with that. Laughable. Haha. Ford wasted his time. This bid is basically ours. Eugene whispered excitedly. Mr. Pearson, looks like our chances are huge. Huh. Not bad, Eugene. You did well. If we win, you get a big credit. Bonus is yours, Pearson praised. Thanks, Mr. Pearson. Eugene shot a smug look at Calvin. Calvin's expression didn't change. He ignored Eugene completely. Since Pearson had made the call, he was just here to watch. I'm going to the restroom. Calvin stood up, face cold. Eugene snorted, muttering, weirdo. Calvin had good hearing and caught it. His face darkened further. He said nothing and walked out. In the restroom, he washed his hands and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. He realized he left his lighter at the office. Patting his pockets yielded nothing. Just my luck. Calvin smiled bitterly, about to leave. I got a light. A voice sounded from behind. Calvin turned to see Ethan smiling at him, holding out a lighter. Thanks, Mr. Ford. Calvin grinned, took the lighter, lit up, and handed it back. Ethan pulled out a cigarette for himself and lit it. Mr. Trent, looks like I might have to congratulate you early. Your bid price is really low. Ethan exhaled smoke, smiling. Calvin shook his head with a laugh. Winning it carries big risks. Might be better not to win. Nothing to be happy about. Ethan paused. He heard the hidden meaning. Calvin seemed unhappy with the decision to bid. So, Sterling Tech wasn't a monolith. And this Calvin Trent was sharp. He saw the risk. From previous contacts, Ethan felt this man was steady, meticulous, and a brilliant manager. He had shown at the dinner table last time. Surprising that Sterling Tech found such talent. Ethan had a thought. Maybe he could poach from Sterling. Mr. Trent, maybe it's a chance to make big bucks. I'm envious. Just don't have the muscle. Ethan shrugged, smiling. Calvin narrowed his eyes, studying Ethan through the smoke. Mr. Ford, you joke. You're young, but run a huge business. It's not lack of muscle. You just didn't want to lowball. But why would a smart man like you join this bid? Calvin felt something odd. Logically, Wes Ford had no hope without a super low price. Cost-wise, Wes Ford couldn't beat distributors. A smart man like Ethan knew that. So why bid? With such a high price, that bid had zero chance. But why did he still do it? That was the weird part. Me? Just bored giving a shot. What if I win? Ethan was non-committal. Is that so? Then looks like Mr. Ford's hopes are slim, Calvin said sincerely. But he saw no disappointment in Ethan's eyes. This forced him to suspect Ethan was just a companion bidder. Part of a collusive bidding ring where companies agree to bid to ensure a specific winner. Yeah, looks slim. Ethan smiled, stubbed out his cigarette, and handed Calvin a card. Mr. Trent, here's my card. Enjoyed the drink last time. Let's grab one again sometime. Calvin paused, took the card, glanced at it, pocketed it, and pulled out his own. No problem, Mr. Ford. Keep in touch. Calvin sensed the olive branch. Ethan was recruiting. He didn't refuse, but didn't overtly accept either. Good. Keep in touch. Ethan gave a meaningful smile. Two old foxes exchanged a look, thoughts hidden. Ethan left the restroom. Calvin finished his smoke and followed. Back in the room, Star City was ready to announce the winner. Tension and anticipation filled the air. Pearson felt his price was unbeatable. This bid is Sterling's. The Star City manager stood up. I announce the winning company is... Pearson smirked confidently. Sterling. The winner is Horizon Systems. Congratulations. The manager applauded. The representative for Horizon Systems, a middle-aged man in a suit named Leo Tate, stood up beaming, shaking hands with the managers. How could it be them? Their price was so high. Eugene slammed the table, standing up to question. The manager replied calmly. Horizon Systems offered computer software services valued at $300K a year. The price was higher, but after consideration, this condition suits us better. Pearson's face changed. Horizon Systems had appeared out of nowhere, and the extra condition was tempting. After Horizon signed a contract with Star City, the Star City people left. The other companies were about to leave. Suddenly, Leo Tate, the Horizon rep, shouted, Haha, everyone, don't be discouraged. I plan to subcontract the hardware portion of this project for $83 million, and I don't need your discounts. As for the software, my company developed it ages ago. Barely costs us anything. Ha, the crowd realized. He's here to skim the middleman fee. 2 days of work, a bid proposal, and a guaranteed $200K profit, difference between budget and subcontract. Easy money. Mr. Tate, we'll take the subcontract. For $83 million. Frank Zane shouted first, acting eager. Wes Ford is willing too. Not much profit, but helping a friend. Ethan grinned. We can take it. Less money, but we'll do it. Companies started clamoring. Pearson thought quickly. The price was lower than his bid. Sure, but he could do it. Sterling Tech can take it. Mr. Tate, you might not know, we recently secured exclusive Chicago distribution rights for 3 hot products, including the TNT2 card. Pearson shouted. Leo Tate's eyes lit up. Is that so? Perfect. Let's find a place to talk details. Pearson and Eugene were overjoyed. A twist of fate. Other companies looked envious, including Ethan. Congrats, Mr. Pearson, Ethan said through gritted teeth, looking ugly. Pearson saw it. Seeing Ethan eat crow felt amazing. I have a supply advantage. I am strong. Ford, what do you have to fight me with? Pearson looked smug. Mr. Ford, made you run here for nothing, wasted 2 days. My heart just feels a little bad for you. Ethan's face was extremely dark. He stormed off. Pearson laughed out loud. Mr. Ford, safe trip home. Ha ha ha. Watching Ethan slink away dejected, Pearson felt a rush of pleasure greater than winning the project itself. He remembered clearly how Ethan had manipulated online opinion to attack Sterling Tech, causing massive losses in partners. Finally, revenge. Mr. Pearson, that kid is delusional trying to grab projects in front of us, Eugene sneered. He's just a clown. I'll crush him sooner or later, Pearson muttered through gritted teeth. Eugene nodded. Can't let that grudge go. But Mr. Pearson, let's lock this project down first. $1 million in profit if we do it right. Yeah, let's go see Mr. Tate, Pearson said happily. Just then, Calvin spoke up. Mr. Pearson, Eugene, I have matters at the office. I'll head back first. Pearson waved his hand dismissively. Go, Eugene, and I can handle the rest. Calvin felt the coldness in Pearson's attitude. His heart chilled, disappointment setting in. Okay, I'm heading back. Calvin turned and left without looking back. Pearson and Eugene approached Leo Tate of Horizon Systems. Haha, Mr. Tate, thanks for the opportunity. Pearson shook his hand firmly. Leo smiled. Just helping each other out. This isn't the place. Let's talk in a hotel tea room. Haha, sure. No problem. Pearson laughed. The three found a quiet room in the Cloudview Hotel. Pearson offered cigarettes, complimenting Leo. Mr. Tate, great idea. Who knew you could cut in via software services to win this? Hee, just had some inside info, Leo said mysteriously. Pearson guessed Leo had prior contact with the client. No wonder he won so easily. Deep connections. He took Leo more seriously. Haha, that's your skill, Mr. Tate. Pearson continued flattering. Leo exhaled smoke. All right, enough praise. Eugene said anxiously. Mr. Tate, shall we discuss the subcontract? Pearson glared at him. Eugene was too rushed. It killed the vibe. Hey, Eugene, pour tea for Mr. Tate first. What are you doing? All right. Sorry, Mr. Tate. Leo smoked and smiled. Okay, Mr. Pearson, Eugene, let's talk business. He pulled a laptop from his bag. I plan to subcontract from the start. Contract is drafted. Take a look. Simple stuff. He turned the screen to them. Pearson read it 3 times. It was simple, clear responsibilities, standard template, but it stipulated that all PC parts must be purchased exactly according to the list. No substitutions. Any change meant failed inspection and breach of contract. Deadline, 5 days. Penalty for breach, 5 times the contract value. Pearson checked the parts list. Most were in his stock. Some, like chips and cases, were at other peers or on the market. 1 or 2 days to procure. No problem. Mr. Tate, contract looks fine. But isn't 5 times penalty a bit high? Pearson hesitated. Hey, Mr. Pearson, a company your size would default on this little project? If you lack confidence, I can give it to someone else. Leo sipped his tea, joking with a hint of threat. Pearson quickly said, Haha, Mr. Tate, you joke. The main parts, GPU, monitor, RAM. I have exclusive rights. If I can't do it, no one can. He was telling Leo, you can't bypass me. Exactly. That's why I picked you first. Let's make money together, Leo laughed. All right, since you're sincere, let's sign now. I have my seals with me. Pearson wanted to lock it down. No long nights. Leo nodded and asked the waiter to print the contract. They stamped, signed, and fingerprinted. Legally binding. Mr. Tate, thanks for the trust. Here's to a happy partnership. Pearson was overjoyed, shaking hands. Of course, win-win. But I must remind you, Mr. Pearson, stick to the schedule. If you don't deliver, I can't explain to the client, and I'd owe 5 times too. Leo warned seriously. Ah, don't worry. 800 PCs? 3 days max. I'll deliver in 4. Pearson smiled confidently. Leo nodded. Good. Smooth sailing. Oh, it's already noon. Pearson understood. Hey, Mr. Tate, if you're not in a rush, let's grab lunch. After that, I'll have Eugene arrange some relaxation. The Cloudview Spa on the 4th floor is excellent. Really? Never been. Mr. Pearson knows his way around. Leo looked delighted. Pearson chuckled darkly. He had Leo figured out. Eugene, don't just stand there. Book a table. We're going now. Pearson glared at Eugene. Right. Going now. Eugene was grinning ear to ear. The deal was done. 10 out of 10 secure. Pearson gestured. Mr. Tate, please. Lunch first, drinks later. Haha. Next time we go together. Leo laughed. Pearson nodded repeatedly. No problem. Please. 3 days later, Sterling Tech. Pearson was drinking tea in his office, relaxed. Suddenly, a frantic knock. Come in. Pearson put down his cup. Eugene ran in, sweating and pale. Mr. Pearson, trouble with procurement. Pearson frowned. Buying parts? What trouble could there be? What is it, Eugene? Eugene wiped his sweat. Mr. Pearson, purchasing says everything is acquired except one item, a deep-cool CPU fan. Ow! Deep-cool fans are everywhere. Tons of stock. Just transfer from another company. How can be out? Pearson asked, baffled. Eugene looked sick. Mr. Pearson, the contract specifies the deep-cool P12 V4. It's 12 centimeters, 4 volt. Not the 14 centimeters 5V, not the 12 centimeters 3V old model. It's an experimental model deep cool, put out. Volume is tiny. So, there's almost no stock on the market. Purchasing ran through the whole tech tower. We got 45 units. We're far from 800. Pearson froze. Ow, did the contract really say that? He remembered checking the list. It said deep cool P12. He vaguely recalled P12 V4. He thought it was the common P12 V3, and it noted 4 volt. It really was the 12 centimeters 4V model. His heart stopped. Eugene, why are you telling me now? Pearson threw the contract, glaring furiously. Eugene lowered his head. You told me to take Mr. Tate out for 2 days. Today is day 3. I just got the report. Pearson's face went black. Did you ask every peer in the tower? All our channels. I called them one by one. They have tons of deep cool fans, but none of that model. Volume was too low. Pearson slumped into his chair, face blank with shock. Mr. Pearson, what do we do? 2 days left. Deadline is 6 p.m. day after tomorrow. Eugene asked anxiously. I'll call Leo Tate. Ask if we can swap. We'll give him the newest deep cool model, more expensive one. Pearson said grimly. He dialed. The moment it connected, he beamed. Hey, Mr. Tate, quick question. That CPU fan. Market is dry. Can we swap for the 14 centimeters 5E1? It's the newest model, better performance, higher RPM. Swap parts? Mr. Pearson, that's a no-go. Client wants that specific part. If you swap, how do we pass inspection? We agreed, no swaps. Any swap means failure. Hey, Mr. Tate, couldn't you smooth it over with the client? We'll eat the cost. Giving them the best, they should be happy. Help us out. Pearson suppressed his rage, begging. Can't do it. No liwa. I am busa. Remember, delivery 6 p.m. day after tomorrow. Lao hung u. Hello, Mr. Tate. Click. Smash. Pearson hurled his phone, cracking it open. Motherfer. That damn Leo Tate. Pearson screamed. He'd wined and dined the guy for 2 days, and he wouldn't even lift a finger. Ruthless prick F. Eugene had never seen Pearson this angry. Usually he kept his cool. Now he'd lost it, probably because the penalty was terrifying. 5 times. That was over $3 million, approximate. Sterling couldn't pay that even if they sold the company. They could not default. Mr. Pearson, what now? Eugene asked, panicked. He had no ideas. I'll find Tate again. You. Find the source of that fan in Chicago. If there's stock, someone distributed it. Find out who. Cost is no object. Buy it back. Including today, 3 days left. Go. Find it. Pearson ordered, eyes red. Yes. Eugene nodded frantically. Before leaving, he hesitated. Mr. Pearson, why did Tate refuse the upgrade? No harm to the client or him. Better parts for free. Why insist on that one? Pearson frowned. Mr. Pearson, do you think this might be a trap? Eugene voiced his intuition. The word struck Pearson like lightning. He froze. A trap? Scenes flashed in his mind. Star City's invite. West Ford bidding. Ethan's weird smile. No, no way. Definitely not a trap. Ford doesn't have the skill or power. He's a small retailer. Star City is a multi-million-dollar corp. Pearson tried to convince himself, but his face grew uglier. His heart sank into the abyss. He couldn't tell fact from delusion, because a gut feeling told him Ethan was behind this, but he couldn't understand or admit it. Pearson's mind was a mess, but he had to act. Eugene, check the source. First, I'm going to Horizon Systems again. Negotiate with Tate. Two paths, convince Tate, or fulfill the contract. Default meant the end, right? I'm on it. Eugene nodded heavily and ran out. Pearson sat there, face pitch black. 2 days later, Pearson failed to convince Leo, but a piece of good news arrived. They found the source of the P6.V4 fan. Southbridge Traders. Pearson knew Southbridge, Frank Zane, was a rival. But in this crisis, face didn't matter. He had to beg. At noon, Pearson and Eugene arrived at Southbridge. Hi, miss. We have an appointment with Mr. Zane, they told the receptionist. Oh, Sterling Tech, Mr. Pearson and Mr. Grant. Yes, Mr. Zane is busy in his office. Please wait in the guest lounge. Okay, we'll wait. Pearson looked unhappy, but had to bow his head onto the eaves. Follow me. They sat on the sofa, anxious. Inside the office, they were being watched. Ethan, they are really panicked. Frank lowered the blinds, smiling. They should be. If they don't deliver by 6 p.m. tomorrow, send the lawyer's letter immediately. Ethan flicked his ash. Frank lit another cigarette. Team is ready. Letter goes out tomorrow. Court summons the day after. Lawsuit might take months, but they lose for sure. Ethan, you are poisonous. But I love it. Frank couldn't stop grinning. Ethan looked at Frank. Without your help, Frank, it wouldn't have worked. Worth the cost to kill Sterling. Frank smiled. Ethan looked at him deeply. Frank had more power than expected, and he was deep profit-driven. With a man like this, trust only goes as far as the money. Frank smoked slowly, letting them stew. Finally, he straightened his shirt. I'll go handle them. Wait here, Ethan. Frank walked out. Huh, Mr. Pearson, Eugene. Sorry for the wait. Frank greeted them warmly, fake smile plastered on. Pearson's annoyance vanished. He shook hands warmly. Not at all. You're busy. 3 smiling faces, fake as hell. Seat. Mr. Pearson, what business do you have for me? Frank sat at the head. Pearson sat. Frank, heard you distribute the Deep Cool P6.V4. Yes. Edo. Frank squinted. Pearson was overjoyed. Frank, I need that fan. 800 units. Do you have stock? Edo. But not sure how much is left. Let me check. Frank pretended to call Lana. A moment later, he looked regretful. Checked. We have stock, but only about 100 left. Nowhere near 800. Huh? What? Pearson's face collapsed. Good news followed by death blow. Frank, please. Think of a way. Transfer from upstream. I'll pay triple. Pearson gritted his teeth. I'll ask around. If I get news, I'll call you. Frank brushed him off. Lana knocked. Mr. Zane, important meeting. All right. Frank slapped his thigh. Pearson stood up sensibly. Since you're busy, we're going. I await your call. No problem. First thing. Frank promised solemnly. Lana, see them out. After they left, Ethan came out. Great acting, Frank. Give them hope. Stall them one more day. Lunch, Ethan. Ethan checked his watch. Sorry, Frank. Gotta get back to school. Counselors are watching me. Haha, okay. Next time. Ethan drove back to Illinois Tech. Next morning, Ethan woke to a call from Grace. Breakfast ate at the side gate. He washed up and rushed out. Zeebnum. Quiet streets. Most students slept in. Grace kept her high school hours, and Ethan followed suit. He saw her by the gate in a light blue sundress, twin ponytails, looking fresh and beautiful. Passers-by turned heads. She had a lollipop in her mouth, looking around for him. Ethan smirked. He sneaked through the bushes behind her. He jumped out, covering her eyes. Guess who? Bam! Hands grabbed his wrists. Over the shoulder throw. Ow! Grace! It's me. Ethan hit the ground, groaning. Grace froze. She covered her mouth. Ethan? He tried to scare me. She quickly helped him up, distressed. Ethan, you okay? Ethan sucked in air. You try hitting the concrete. Grace pouted. Who told you to sneak up? Reflexes. Thought you were a perv. Ethan. Note to self. Don't startle Grace. Lethal weapon. On the bright side. She's safe. Okay, I'll rub it. Where does it hurt? Grace cooed, rubbing his back. Her voice was sweet and soft. Ethan melted. Here. He moved her hand. Here? Better. Nope. Here, too. Ethan, your chest hurts too? Yeah. Internal injuries from your chi. My heart aches. Hurry up, Gracie, or I can rub your chest later to make it even. Grace, duh. Thwack, a loud flick to the forehead. A scream. 1 minute later. Cough. Kidding, Grace. What do you want for breakfast? My treat. Ethan rubbed his forehead, holding her hand. Grace pursed her lips. If I want churros. Long ones. And a vanilla shake. Let me guess. Extra thick. Ethan smirked, wiggling his eyebrows. Yes. Extra thick. Grace lifted her chin, then froze, seeing his grin. Ethan. Why you look so creepy? Ethan put on a saintly face. Me? Creepy? Never. Don't slander me. By the way, Gracie, question. What? You know, a thick shake in the morning builds strong bones.